The orbit.
Hello, and welcome once again to The Orbit, Episode 3. I am Azrael, and once again I am joined by my co-hosts and fellow Eternal Orbit teammates, Mr. Exiles Rhythm.
How's it going?
And Mr. Rude Clouds.
What's good?
Once again, I'm sorry for the technical difficulties, but I'm thinking it's going to become a meme here that we just can't roll without something breaking somewhere, somehow. But thank you guys for having fun with it in the chat and rolling with us and sticking around for a moment. How are you two doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. My mother, she actually just went home. I was hanging out with her for the past few days, which was really awesome. How about you? How's life been for you, Az?
Busy with life things and things related to living, but good. I'm actually in a pretty good mood. You know, I got a busy week this week. A lot of things going on in my stream life and in my real life. Getting ready to go on vacation next week. Super excited. What about you, Eric? How are things over there in SoCal?
Oh boy, you know the lingo and everything.
I do. I'm
See, that's like the secret menu of California is known SoCal. So things are actually going. I mean, they're going really well, but they're crazy as hell. So I don't know. I'm trying to balance a lot of things that you balance, and it seems like it's going okay, which is nice. So yeah, I'm really excited that we got another week of this happening, and that
3 weeks in a row.
It's a new record for us.
We hope to break that record every week ad infinitum.
Yeah, until the whole stream crashes.
No, infinitum.
Infinitum.
You know, the worst part is I love XSplit for how powerful it is. I pay for this program because I like it so much, and at least once out of every 3 or 4 streams, I have some sort of problem with it. So when it works great. When it doesn't, it makes us all look, just me look bad. But let's be honest, I'm good at doing that on my own. So it's
it would have to work a lot harder to make you look badass. Listen,
oh man,
jeez Louise, it'd have to shoot like slime at your face, and even then, you could probably be the one person to be like the new Hagatha.
Oh my God, let's not encourage that fanfic to happen. Oh boy.
No comment. Leaving it there.
Get out of my swamp, jeez.
So guys, how's your Hearthstone week been? Oh man, I'm just trying to tread just right past that whole conversation.
You're doing great. Not many people can balance it, so that goes to show your showmanship, honestly.
Oh my goodness, or just my embarrassment.
Yeah.
For me to completely derail the derailment, I did pretty well with Hearthstone this week. I was able to only rage quit my stream twice out of 3 times, and for that, I give it 2 thumbs up. I played in a qualifier today. I think I went 4-2, then I dropped.
Okay.
I dropped on my second loss because there's no way I was going to make it. I lost in the first round as well. My tiebreakers were bad, so I quit to prepare for the orbit.
Nice.
How about you, Eric, my man? What's Hearthstone been doing to you?
I have been having a fantastic week. So Monday, was it Monday or was this Sunday? It was Sunday because today's Wednesday. Okay. So on Sunday, I was ranked 2 to like 2.2. And we got to final boss, and then I lost. We did the dance around 1.4 a couple of times, and I fell all the way back to rank 2.2. So it started off being a little but then on the next day, we were able to bring it back home to hit legend with our Q block, which super good vibes. So
nicely done.
Stoked about that. And then I am in a specialist tournament, and I won both my matches.
Congratulations with Q block.
First place. Yeah, with Q block, with control Q block, kinda.
Oh, control Q block.
Mid-range hunter.
Well.
Yeah, I know. It's not really an archetype, but let's just say you have to worry about mid-range hunter.
Does it make it feel more empowering and like niche when you say control Q block? Like you teched Q block to be control-y?
It makes me feel like I've created a new archetype that I'm describing to you all, and it's very powerful.
Well, I'm going to derail you real quick. I want to know how many times you've made legend in the last year with something other than warlock.
Oh, that is one of the best questions I've been asked in my entire life. Once with paladin, once with Secret Hunter, or twice with Secret Hunter. Once on NA and another time on EU.
I remember those. That thinking face.
I want to say I've hit Legend 9 separate times, so I think a good 2/3 of my runs have been with Warlock, and I don't regret it.
I figured as much. But again, full disclosure, pot calling the kettle black. All of my Legend runs have been Hunter, so I can't really talk. But I just wanted to throw a wrench in your gears there for a minute.
Ready to really bring me down.
Well, at least it wasn't Zulok, because God knows I troll you enough about your Zulok.
Oh boy, yeah, that could never get to me though. I've got a zoo tattooed on. I've just the word zoo tattooed over my heart. Next to mom. It's those two.
Next to mom.
So good luck making me feel
Mama
bad
Zoo.
about it.
Lock life across his stomach.
Oh my god. Like the fingers.
Lock life.
Yeah.
There you go.
But how about your week, Az? Did you a pretty good time? I know you had a lot going on.
I've been very, very busy. Like I've done what, 2 or 3 duo streams this week already. Been very, very busy. One with Brookworm, one with Blump, and then one with I should say fellow Eternal Orbit member Blumplunk. And one with friend of the team, Mr. Too Cool. Because as a result, I've played very little ladder in the last. I think I played like 3 hours of ladder in the last week, and all of it was memes. I played Test Rogue and just other shenanigans like that, just for fun, because I'm pretty much over the meta. I don't even care about hitting Legend this month, to be honest. I'm going to try because it's me and I'm going to try hard, but I don't care if I hit it per se, because I've got so many things going on and like community events I'm focusing on. But I think I started out this week rank 4, 2 stars, and I'm currently at rank 5, 0 stars, and I don't care. So,
way to go. You broke our boy Hearthstone.
Yes.
He's our sweet, beautiful boy.
Az, have you tried the autocomplete deck builder thing?
No, but I saw you playing with it. How was it?
Yeah, dude, it was fantastic. I was gonna recommend you try it, because I had the chat just telling me, a card or a class to put in there. I would autocomplete and play it. Like I did Deathwing and Paladin. I did a bunch of weird stuff. I just got Millhouse, so tomorrow I'm going to be doing Millhouse.
I saw a Cho.
Nice.
Yeah, there was a Cho one. So it might be something you enjoy, because like the decks were legit too. The decks were actually legit.
So that's actually something you should talk about. The patch went live that put in the new deck builder, and you've been memeing with it, but you say that the decks are actually pretty good.
Yeah, the decks are legit. I don't have a losing record. I'm either at 500 or one game over 500 with those decks, and I played like 10 or 15 or something.
Yeah, but like 20% of that's just because you're you. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could give you a shoebox full of like old Yu-Gi-Oh cards. You could scan them into your computer and still like hit Legend in Hearthstone with them. So
maybe, but the point is the decks are legit, and my competitive mind is saying the deck is legit. So.
Well, that might be something for me to do to kill time while we wait for the expansion. Because, guys, did you hear there's an expansion that's coming out here pretty soon?
Yeah, rumor has it.
We might talk about that today.
We get to it.
And we might talk about it even more in the future. Maybe in April.
In April, you say? What time in April?
Yeah, on the 4th of April, on a special Thursday edition stream. # sell out as much as I can. We're going to be doing a card review, an official Orbit card review, and we're all going to say why Azrael's wrong about his valuations of the meta.
Yep.
It's going to be great.
I'm okay with this. So yeah, guys, we're going to be doing that on Thursday, special edition. We want to do it as late as possible to make sure that we get in all of the cards that we can. I believe, according to the schedule that was just released today, all of the cards should be released by then. So unless they're like planning to do like a big dump on Friday, then we should have all of the cards that day. So tune in for that. Is there anything else going on in the next couple of days for the Orbit, the team, the EO team, or anything else?
There actually is. It's a great question. So something that we're doing as well is we haven't been able to knock out our March event yet, and it's going to be happening this upcoming weekend, which we're all super excited about. We're going to be playing the Jackbox Party Pack 5. Anyone who's a regular here in Azrael's channel has eyes knows that Azrael crushed it the last time there were robot rap battles. And so it's something that I've never done, and I think most of us are going to be pretty fresh to it, but it looked like it was a good time. So we're all super stoked about that. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be this Saturday, the 23rd at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and there may be some hijinks involved and good vibes.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be hijinks and good vibes.
And it'll be over at Striving Light's channel.
Yes. So Risa, who just rated us a minute ago, aka Striving Light, fellow Eternal Orbit team member, will be hosting that event this Saturday, the 23rd, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. The entire team will be there. We will be rap battling. It will be hilarious and fun. Super excited about that. And then in addition to that, just to throw it out there, we haven't narrowed down an exact date and time yet, but we're going to have a special edition of the Orbit once we can get it organized. That's going to be completely arena focused. So we're going to bring on some arena specialists. Some of them probably Eternal Orbit team members. Wink, wink. And we're going to come in and have a special edition of the show where we talk specifically about the changes to arena. What that's going to look like, and how the new cards that they've revealed up to that point might pan out in the arena. So if you're looking for a little more of an arena-focused thing, guys, we've got you covered right here in a couple weeks. So keep an eye out on the Eternal Orbit Twitter and website for an official date and time once we had that narrowed down. But we want to throw it out there, something to look out for, because we all love arena here. And I'm actually, as I talked about last week, really excited about the new changes to Arena. I think it's going to make it really, really exciting to play. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Guys, is there anything else going on in the Hearthstone universe that we might want to talk about before we get into that, that other thing that there's to talk about shadows or something?
Yeah.
That's not the episode. I thought that was the end. There's nothing else in the show notes.
Oh crap! Let me. I guess time flies. I guess we're done, guys. So.
Yeah. Now crash the stream.
This is great. We've now officially broken the record for the most times we've ended an episode to date.
we've ended. Yes, yeah. And how many times we've ended the same episode during the same episode? I think we're on 2 now. So.
Epiception.
That's right.
But I am more than happy to jump in and steer this ship in the right direction by saying that something that's not expansion related is there was actually a bit of an update on something we had talked about either last week or our first week of the Orbit, which is Roger. And I want to make sure I got that one. Yeah. Rieli. Am I saying it properly?
Riel, maybe. I'm not actually sure.
But basically 2 people who have been caught openly cheating in competitive Hearthstone. One of them, Roger, just won the HCT Winter Championships. They are now receiving punishment kind of after a very long delay. Blizzard decided to finally say, hey, you know what? There's been an issue with competitive integrity. They made a whole post on Reddit about it. Milkfat, I think, was the one who posted it, who oversees a lot of the Hearthstone, if not just completely oversees the Hearthstone esports scene. And took the time to bring out kind of their thoughts behind everything, what was going to happen. And then kind of since then people have sort of been talking about it. So Azrael, I don't know if you want to kind of share a little bit of the punishments that's sort of being looked upon and what you think that might affect.
The biggest punishment is that he's being banned from the entire year of Grandmaster tournament play, which is Grandmaster is the highest tier of official Hearthstone tournament play. That's where the biggest prizes are, where the biggest focus of esports is, where the top tier players are, and he's banned for the entire year. They did actually say though, they did actually kind of give him a little bit of a nod, acknowledging that he earned his win, that they weren't going to strip him of his titles, but that his punishment was going to be banishment for a year from the top tier competitive play. I don't know if that means he's going to not be able to play in like satellites or like the unofficial stuff, but it's at least as far as like the big prize pool, $250,000 prize pool stuff. He's out of that for the entire year. I think that was the biggest punishment that I noted. Am I missing something? But I think that was the biggest one.
No, and that's exactly what I saw. And I don't know. And X, do you have any thoughts about, because for Roger especially, they were involved in win trading to get HCT points. They actually helped someone else get their points so they could qualify, but it was caught. Along with, I'm pretty sure they were able to see people's, they were relaying hand information during a tournament to the other players.
So this is big time cheating stuff, guys. This isn't like little stuff. I mean, it's not any one little thing. I think we should kind of point that out. There's multiple things going on here. Like you said, talking about their hands, relaying information, and win trading are two huge impact ways to cheat in this game. They're not little things, because the win trading affects your HTC points, and the other one, obviously, telling what hand information is effectively, stream sniping or cheating.
You mind if I weigh in on this for a moment?
Please do.
Get in there.
So here we go. I think this is a great thing that Blizzard's doing, because they're forcing their top level players to be ambassadors for the game, which is how it should be. It's that way in every organization. Did you know if you were signed to the New York Yankees, you have to get a haircut, you have to shave your beard? Johnny Damon had to do it when he was coming from the Red Sox in 2006. Let me show my age real quick. Watch baseball.
We got a 13-year-old here, folks.
I know, But the point remains, they have their professional standard. Hearthstone and Blizzard's professional standard is don't be a cheater.
Yes.
I don't think that's too high of a standard to hold up. And to take another stab at it, I think that the cheating on the ladder, the win trading on the ladder, mostly inconsequential. I detest it. I think that anybody who does win trading is, desperate and has no confidence in their own ability to do it, which is okay. That's fine. However, it's nothing near the level of telling your opponent, telling somebody what their opponent trackinged away.
Right. That's huge. Yeah.
I no longer have to play around kill command. Can you imagine that? Even lock against a hunter. That's not the situation, but
no.
Right.
But yeah, so that's my biggest feeling on it. It's like Blizzard made a huge win. Let's get away from the negative. I want to end on the positive. Blizzard made a huge win by going back and saying, "Hey, we kind of screwed up a little bit, and we're going to force these professional players, these big name players, who, as a result of his win, I can guarantee if he wanted to stream on Twitch, he would instantly have 50 people watching him because he just won Worlds." So. Yes, force him to be an ambassador, Blizzard. Thank you.
I agree.
Yeah.
Eric, do you have any further thoughts on that before we...
Well, since X wants to end on a positive note,
Sure.
I think we'll maintain it on a relatively positive note. The big sort of discussion that's followed since then is people's reactions to the fact that this information has been out for a while. Blizzard wasn't necessarily unaware of this. The community wasn't unaware of all these things that had occurred.
Right.
And they actually had received, I think, minor penalties in certain situations. They were, they were forced to forfeit their match where it was the team and they were doing hand tracking and everything, or not hand tracking, but and so there you go, essentially, yeah. And so the big thing is people being upset about how long it took, and whether or not this goes far enough, because someone like Roger, who did win HCT Winter, is going to be able to participate in Worlds, even though they're not going to be able to part of Grandmasters.
Yes.
So the idea is, I don't know if anyone here was watching HCT Winter Championships, but I know I was. And anytime Roger was on the screen, Cheater was filling up the entire Twitch chat. And that's always, that's never a good look in general, but especially when it's on your official Blizzard stream. You've got your biggest event, you've got your winner being someone drawing so much ire, and then having it be even amplified more going into them playing in Worlds. That's a very sort of disappointing outcome that could have been avoided. And I think the biggest plus you can take from all this is the fact that they're doing something now, at least. So you've got to hope that they see the response and they try to be more proactive in the future towards it.
I agree. I think one of the themes that we can take away here that is very positive is the fact that they are being proactive about taking the right steps to ensure that what they want Hearthstone to be, which is a competitive, viable, legitimate esport, and they're taking the right steps to give the viewers confidence in that, not just the players, but the viewers that are going to watch it and look up to it and want to emulate that play, letting them know that, hey, we're holding these guys accountable. We're making sure that the rules are followed. We endorse fair play, etc. And I think that goes a long way to establishing establishing confidence in your game and in your competition. So,
I never in a million years would have thought Blizzard would take a step back from the table and say, "Oops, we messed this one up, guys."
That was huge.
I never thought I would see that.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
Let's just hope the trend continues.
Absolutely. Well, now that we've kind of covered like what's going on around our team and just the Hearthstone scene in general at large on the macro level, other than the elephant in the room, of course, let's talk about what we're going to be looking at in today's show. Obviously, again, elephant in the room is the new X-Pack was officially launched, I think, the day after we did our last Orbit episode. It's Rise of Shadows. And there's actually quite a few cards out now. I think we've got 12 total cards, and then really 17 because we have the 5 lackey cards. We're going to discuss all of those. And just a few hours ago, they released the schedule for the card releases going forward, because we already know that the expansion is going live April 9th. And we have a schedule of all of the cards in between. The only thing we don't have like overtly stated anywhere is like the reveals, the big reveal stream, and then the dump stream at the end. But we can kind of infer the dates based on the schedule that they have. We'll get into that here in a little bit. So that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at in today's show. What else we got going on, guys?
We, for anyone who follows the Eternal Orbit Twitter account, we have a poll that's live right now that we're going to be discussing. And right now, I'm actually pretty happy. We've had almost 30 people weigh in on their thoughts towards the question of this week, which is, should Hearthstone allow you to ban one class when you're playing ranked games? So you queue up on ladder, you have the option to say, you know what, I don't want to see Odd Warrior. I don't want to see Wall Priest. I don't want to see Exiles with their Cho Paladin. Like, you have the option to say, you know what, I'm going to give a big nope to that. And it's been really interesting to see people's, opinions on it. So we're going to be weighing in on how the poll is looking right now and our thoughts on it as well.
And guys, remember, you still have time to vote in it. So if you haven't yet, go to the Twitter, get on there, vote real quick, throw a comment in there if you want to add that in there too. But let us know your feelings, because we're going to talk about them here in a little bit.
And don't forget, like, if you guys can't be bothered to make a Twitter account or whatever, you could just stick around here for a while. We're gonna talk about it after the stream. We're gonna have a Q&A section at the end of the cast anyway. So should we just get to it? Like, I'm excited. Can we talk about the X-Pack?
Let's do it. Kick us off, X.
Let's go. So I already kind of plugged it, but I'm gonna say it again because I'm so excited to do the card review stream with you guys. The card review stream is going to be happening on the 4th, and pre-release is happening on the 5th. So before you go to that fireside gathering and open those packs, you get to watch us, or you get to watch us while you're there. Whatever. Either way, total good sellout. Tim, just make everything awkward until they stop you. But anyway,
no, I was just going to let you roll with it.
Yeah.
Pre-release is on the 5th, and I just can't wait. It's been hard playing ladder. I know Rude Clouds and Azrael both feel it, dude.
Oh yeah.
What are you looking for? Hey, don't scarecrow me. How you feeling? What are your thoughts on it, Eric? What are you most excited for?
Oh man. I mean, I am most excited for the fact that the game is going to be flipped on its head. I think that everyone's well aware of that. Like, there's new mechanics, there's new cards. But the fact that we're losing 3 expansions worth of content that have absolutely dominated the meta, it kind of feels like Hearthstone being reset back to vanilla at a certain point.
Very
like,
close.
Imagine like this feels more like a step from like vanilla to Boomsday than anything else, or to vanilla to Goblins vs. Gnomes to Boomsday. Just a total of A7 expansions. Don't worry. So it's very exciting to see these cards that I think when we look at them, we'll be aware of their power levels, but you're just very aware at the same time that these are not Death Knights. These are not, Arthas, Kelseth. Like, it's a whole new game that feels a lot more reliant, from what we've seen so far, on the skill of play versus the cards in play. And so that's what I'm excited about.
It's going to feel good for that God, I keep pointing to the wrong guy. It's going to feel good for that as well, Rude Clouds. Like, when all those overpowered cards leave the meta, the decks are going to feel much less polarized too, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm looking forward to. And I really just want to skip through the show notes to get to what I'm super excited about, but I'm not going to just cut it off. Yeah, I am. Screw it. The League of Eagle and the Dalaran Defenders. Oh my God. You guys know I'm not a huge nerd for the more casual stuff, the lore, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
But let me tell you this: I played in Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. That was the last thing I played in before I stopped playing for years.
Mm-hmm.
And that was with the tri-classes. I'm getting a similar feel. My gut is screaming I'm going to be able to play Hunter Lock, and I'm just gonna.
Hunter Lock.
Beautiful.
Interesting. Interesting.
Lock. Let's go.
Interesting.
That's probably never going to happen. They're on opposite sides, but
yeah.
I can pray that,
Well, a little teaser of a discussion. You guys want to jump right to that, or you just want to tease it and come back to it?
I like the tease, honestly, because looking at this and seeing this strained look on Exile's face as we're very aware what they want to be talking about, I think will be the highlight.
It's like this is what X looked like at 5-year-old X Christmas morning, knowing he's about to open his SNES or his GameCube or
looking at that
64. I'm not really sure which one of those, but somewhere in that ballpark.
5 SNES probably.
Yeah.
But yes.
Nice.
Azra, what are you looking forward to the most with this expansion?
Honestly, freshness. You talked about it earlier, just freshness. Like I've said it last week. I said it actually every show of this we've done now. My favorite time in the meta is when there's the least amount of stuff to put in a deck. I like it when you got to get really creative. You got to dig out cards that you're I remember when X and I first met, and he'd pop into my stream a couple times a week, and he'd be like, "Dude, try this deck," and he'd throw some deck at me with cards that nobody played, like just this wacky shit, and I was just like, "Oh, you found a way to make this work!" And I would just get so. And, it was they're 40% win rate decks, but I have fun with them, and it was creative outside the box thinking, and I love that. I really really love that. Yeah, of course, eventually I'm gonna get into I want to hit Legend, and I'm gonna start playing the meta decks, but that period of 2 or 3 weeks, right when an entire set rolls over. And you're with basic cards and whatever the new expansion is. That's the least amount of cards we're gonna have any period, and now we're gonna have even less because we lost an additional 12 cards, 2 of which were huge in Baku. Guys, they're leaving. If you didn't know, welcome back to Earth. If you didn't know,
we should do an episode about that.
Yeah, we should talk about that at some point. So we're losing so much with it. It feels like we're almost like Eric, you had said, we're losing almost even more because that was so impactful. So I'm really excited about where this is going to go. And I hope that they don't say, "Oh, look how weak everything is. Let's put all these other cards in." I hope that doesn't happen. That's cynical as happening. I'm sorry. I apologize. But that's where I'm at. Give me some fresh.
When are they going to introduce the rotating classic set?
Oh my God! Don't tease me. We talked about that last week, and I hope that's the first, maybe the second set of the year. So whatever the next one is, September or August, maybe. That'd be sweet.
They're just gonna announce it. They're gonna announce it on Monday.
Can you imagine?
If they did, guys, you won't even have to get online to hear me. I will scream so loud. You just open your windows and you'll hear my vocal cords blowing out. I'll be so happy for that because that would be dope. Yeah.
Very, very realistically, I feel like I would not be surprised to see it next year at the very start, the first expansion of 2020.
You think so?
Given honestly my impression of the way that the development side of things can go, I would not be surprised if either they hit an internal snag that we don't hear about, or there's some amount of playtesting that I'm pacing myself and not trying to get too excited and thinking, you know what, next year at the very start, it's a way to say, hey, it's a new year, we've got a new standard, and that's very easy to play off.
Do you think it's going to be a separate ladder, or they'll just change standard to be rotating?
I think it would have to be the same.
Really?
Yeah. What about you, X?
Yeah, I don't think they could make another ladder, right? They already have the wild ladder, which nobody plays on, and then they have the standard ladder, which only 60% of people play on. Because honestly, I know I didn't realize this was a thing, but a lot of people actually play in casual mode. Like,
really?
Yeah, a lot of people play in the non-ranked mode. Honestly, it was a
That's-
surprise to me the first time somebody told me they played in that mode, because I accidentally queued it because I didn't know it was a thing.
Right.
So
someone like, he's finally playing.
Finally, I can get good
man.
at the casual ladder.
Yeah.
Ladder.
Man, we have been involved in our own spaces for too long. We need to explore and talk to the casual folk out there. That was all of us at some point, right? Like, we didn't have the card to make a real deck. So, like,
yeah.
Okay, maybe it wasn't X. X is shifting their eyes like they're trying to hide a secret.
Back in beta, I played a lot of casual because I didn't have any gold yet. It wasn't until I discovered how much gold you could make with Arena that I was actually able to fill out my collection, because I was free to play until they stopped allowing you to buy expansions with gold. So I was building my collection, basically grinding out quests until I realized I could do it with Arena. So I played a lot of casual back in beta. It wasn't until the last month of beta where I was like, oh wait, the ladder's fun. I'm going to do this now. Okay, so do we want to talk about any of the mechanics that we now have official? Because we theory crafted a little bit last week, and I like to say, guys, we nailed the one mechanic. We almost got the name right. I think the name twinning was thrown out there, and somebody else threw out something else like twin spell, but it's 2 words. I was really close. And one of the big new mechanic is twin spell. If one of you guys wants to delve into that one a little bit.
Yeah.
Twin spell is basically a bad version of Echo. So what twin spell does is when you cast a card, it creates a copy of the card and puts it in your hand, only it removes the mechanic twin spell. So for example, there's a card known as the Forest's Aid. It's an 8-mana card, and it summons 5 2/2 treants, and it's twin spell. So you play that card, and then you get another terrible 8-mana card in your hand in case the first one wasn't good enough. So it's going to be fun if we see it on better, how you say, cards.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the whole one important thing for everyone to realize is with the twin spells, you will get this card back, but it won't have a twin spell attribute to it anymore. So you can only play it one more time. It won't just keep kind of infinitely go in your hand. So it seems like they decided to make Echo cards that were at their base stronger, but at their I don't know, their impact maybe weaker. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. But I did like Az teasing us there with the treants.
He was talking about it, and originally I had that set up to be a smooth transition, but when the stream crashed right at the start, that setup went out the window, unfortunately.
That was beautiful.
So I had to do it on the fly.
I thought you were about to say that I threw your setup out the window by talking about it too early.
No, by all means, we are in our creative space. We can do what we want, my friend. I normally
do whatever I want anyway.
This is true, but we expect nothing less from you, my friend. I like the twin spell mechanic mostly because, unlike Echo, I think it allows, because of its limitation, it allows for more powerful spells.
Yes.
So I'm a big fan of that because it allows for them to get, it allows them more creative space, right? Because if they just did Spell Echo, I think we get a whole lot of it's kind of cool, but I mean, Rogue already has that. And it was kind of whatever, and nobody plays those spells, and so now we're going to give them to other classes. This feels like something that can actually be impactful, and you might actually get excited. I'm not saying that this is going to be a card. I have no inside knowledge. I wish I did. Hashtag Blizzard Insiders, email me, please.
Please.
But imagine if they did a twin spell version of Bloodlust or something like that. Just something,
Oh boy.
Or a card that appends twin spell onto something.
Ooh, exactly. The next spell you cast has twin spell, something like that.
That sounds like a shaman card waiting to happen.
That does, or shaman or rogue
really
probably,
does.
but yeah, definitely. So that's somebody clip that. X called it right here. That's going to be a card. It's going to be a card. I have a feeling.
Get your X's up in chat.
It wasn't originally going to be a card, but since Ben Brode is listening to this, he's going to email Ixar immediately and say, "Hey, you got to add this."
Yeah.
Or I release the photos. I'm pretty sure. That's how
Or I
that
release
goes.
the photos.
Or we'll tell everyone what you're eating at second lunch.
Oh.
And it's not food.
Oh, innuendo.
It's supposed to be people.
So overall, what do you guys, scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate this new mechanic compared to other ones? Like, for example, for me, like the top of the scale for mechanics that have been introduced would absolutely be Discover. My absolute favorite mechanic in the game, period. I love that mechanic. It has a little bit of RNG, but it rewards good decision making, good planning, etc. So that to me is a 10 mechanic compared to what we have in the game right now. So if that's my 10, I would put the twin spell, and like what's a terrible mechanic like Inspire. Inspire is like a 1 or a 2, right? I would put twin spell, for me personally, I would put it somewhere in the neighborhood, potentially without seeing all the cards. I'm optimistic on it. I would put it like a 7 for potential.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm optimistic because of its limitation. I think they can get pretty audacious with it. X, what do you think?
If they make Shaman cards with Twin Spell, it's going to be a 9 or a 10 because Hagatha exists.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And it's just going to be hilarious for me to smack somebody in Wild with a Rune Spear that's rotating tier. Just smack somebody with Rune Spear, hit a Twin Spell, get it back in my hand. It's gonna be hilarious. I'm gonna love it. So many shenanigans gonna happen with Twin Spell.
Yeah. I think I've got it probably maybe like slightly lower than as. I'm curious because this has the potential to be so gross. And I know like every mechanic they introduce can. It could be like, oh, Inspire, heal yourself back up to 30. like that's a gross mechanic. But
right.
like, yeah, it's gonna be curious how to see if Druid is the only indication to go off of. I think they're very clearly undertuning it.
Right. Oh my god.
But
yeah, because if they introduce
just
another broken Druid spell, I think everybody would delete their accounts, right?
Druids like that. Like I don't know if you've seen that episode of Simpsons. Like there's a fight in a schoolyard, and one kid's like, "Stop! He's already dead." Like that feels like Druid at this point. I know a card Druid is still kind of in there, like everything's happening, but like they've taken their wound.
Moving UI to classic
11
set, by
mana?
the way. To classic set, by the way.
Don't say that. Boy. Don't say that. I will delete. I will legitimately delete my account and become a Minecraft streamer.
Sounds like an improvement.
And just to recap real quick, because it was asked in chat, the twin spell mechanic is very simply put, a spell that has. Oops, that's not the right one. A spell that has, that's the show notes, guys. Don't look at that. A spell that has twin spell on it has, it casts twice. So you cast this, you get an exact copy of it minus the twin spell on it. That's the twin spell mechanic. So, any more to add to that discussion?
Feels good. I'm excited to see what they do with it because it's just going to be a fun card when done with a powerful situation.
I
Next
agree.
topic.
I agree. Okay. Well, they also talked about one of the. It's kind of a new mechanic, or is it really more like a new card type? I'm not really sure how to word this, but Eric, do you want to explain what lackeys are and how they work?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Lackeys are super interesting because I don't know if anyone played. We talked about this last week, of course. But if anyone played Goblins versus Gnomes, there were things called spare parts. There were 1-mana cards that had special buffs or debuffs, if you will. And so moving forward to the current set, lackeys are now 1-mana 1/1 minions that all have a special effect that's overstated for their cost. So we've got a few different ones. I don't know if it's worth just mentioning that, and then we can get into the actual effects as they as we get to the card side of things.
Sure.
But all their effects are battle cries, so when you play them, something will happen that is a bit stronger than what you'd expect from a 1-mana minion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit before the show, and I think the overall knee-jerk reaction to them is. But we'll dive into that more in a minute. X, do you have any particular thoughts, just generally speaking, about the lackey mechanic? Do you think it's is it necessary to introduce a new card type, or do you think they're just doing this more to like be a throwback to the spare parts card, or does it like muddy up the RNG pool a little too much, or other thoughts?
So honestly, Rude Clouds, dude, you kind of killed it. You stole my thunder this way, right?
Got him.
Yeah,
Right.
that way.
You
That way.
kind of stole my thunder with the economy, dude, because that's what it all busts down to is the economy.
Yeah.
It's a 1 mana card, or I'm sorry, it's a 3 mana card stapled onto 1 mana cost. They're all 2 mana overstated, which means they're going to be a net tempo gain on the following turn. So it's an immediate value play, but if you have 1 extra mana, it now becomes a value/tempo play. So because you're getting your what was the scheme card? You're getting your 3 mana 1/5
Right.
and 2 3 mana cards that cost 1. So you take that immediate, I guess, tempo hit in order to gain your value.
Because a 3 mana 1/5 is terrible.
Exactly.
But
But then you have 2 3 mana cards for 1 mana. So it's a how do I want to say it? 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 3 is 9. So you have 9 value for 5 mana.
Correct.
Is, I guess, how I want to overall frame it. And yeah, I can't say it any better than Eric did.
Yeah. And the one thing I want to add there is it's interesting that they highlighted it specifically in Rogue, because then you have the added economy of now Rogue doesn't have to think so much about putting in combo activators because they can get them naturally. And that's in and of itself, speaking of economy, an economy boost because they can put other cards in there and or get more value because they're getting these free ones. And then of course they've got Rogue has all of these kickback mechanics like Vanish and Shadow Step and Lab Recruiter and all these other things where they can get this not infinite, but well, yes, theoretically infinite value out of. So it's definitely an interesting and powerful mechanic. I'm almost afraid that they'll have to water it down, or this is going to be like a one-of mechanic because you don't want to saturate the meta with so many of these kind of like super power potential cards. But again, that's just me probably being cynical. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I don't know. It seems like the whole concept behind lackeys is all the 5 of them are based off of kind of the 5 villains of the expansion. So they all have their specific themes of like, I'm going to give a specific example. You better believe it.
Go ahead.
So like Goblin Lackey, Dr. Boom, Kobold Lackey, the other dude, Togwag. I literally said their name earlier, like that sort of thing. So like, I think it's gonna stay in this expansion. I think it's a really cool game design decision too, just because hey, it's a really nice tie into the fact that you have these villains and these are their lackeys, and now Rogue gets to have them.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that all the classes are going to have some access to them. I just think it's interesting that they highlighted Rogue first.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first thing that popped out to my mind was free combo activators.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Which to me, it's more important that it frees up space in their deck for other things, and kind of fills the hole that things like Cold Blood becoming 2 mana. So
the big thing is, though, we're going to need something better than what we're talking about, because 3 mana 1/5 is never going to see play, no matter how many lackeys it puts in your hand.
True.
It could fill your hand with lackeys. Let's look at that card that fills your hand with Spring Paws. What is that? The legendary. We don't even know the name.
Yeah.
Hides Halazi tattoo on the other.
But I mean, the fact of the matter is like it's giving you tempo cards in a card that makes you take a tempo hit, and that's the biggest issue. We need to find a way to abuse it. Like Spirit of the Shark makes it good, but now you have 2 bad cards to make 1 card okay. So anyway, we'll get to that in our card review stream on the 4th.
Thoughts just to put in your head for when we talk about these cards in more detail. How do you think that they're going to impact the arena? Just something to throw out there for some consideration when we come back to these cards here in a few minutes. X, that's not the only new mechanic / card type we're getting now. Do you want to talk about the next card? They actually announced quite a bit of like new cards and mechanics in this one. And the next one on the list, if you wouldn't mind, X.
Schemes.
Mm-hmm.
Schemes are cards that get better and better the longer they sit in your hand, and you get angrier and angrier the longer you know it's in your opponent's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Or when it's at the bottom of your deck.
When you top deck it one turn after you need it.
Yeah,
it's never at the bottom of my deck. But here's something that's pretty important. You can reduce Lazul's scheme is something I want to highlight in particular, which is it says reduce the attack of an enemy minion by 1 till your next turn. It upgrades each turn. The way they work is they could, and Peter Whalen put out on Twitter that they go forever. So if you're 30 turns into it, you can reduce the attack of an enemy minion by 30 until your next turn. Well, this gives Priest an effective way to deal with these pesky 4-attack minions for 0 mana. This is putting Priest next to... it's putting Priest in a much better spot. We thought that Priest was going to have a big issue losing its Psychic Scream and basically all of its good cards. But this is showing that it's going to give... Blizzard's going to give Priest more of the same type of control, and they're not going to let it go to the wayside. And I predicted at the release of last year, 12 months ago, I predicted Priest was going to be huge. Well, damn it. I was right, and I hope I'm not right about this, but Priest is going to be huge again.
Thanks, X.
I don't want to be right. But schemes, guys. Yeah. Schemes and Priest.
And I just want to make a quick note. I guess
you called it. No, you called it. You can say you called it.
Oh, no, not even that. No, believe me. I'm way too insecure to try to hype myself up.
I'll say you called this.
He called it 100%.
My original idea was that this could be, like, they could introduce a mechanic that would be something that starts at the beginning of a game. And it'd be like, we talked kind of like Aura, like an effect that like your class would have. So it's still cool to see they took a similar route, and they did go for these ideas of like, hey, wait till you get to turn limit and you're ready to
45 to really damage.
Yeah. Take that. See you later, darkness. You know, like. So yeah, I don't know.
So you're a 5/5.
And I have more commentary on the Priest scheme later on, but I'll probably hold it until then. I guess that's what I was gonna say. But thank you for hyping stuff up.
Okay. They did confirm though that we will see more old mechanics return. They didn't go in details, but we do know it was also confirmed that all 3 of this year's expansions are going to be thematically linked. It's going to tell a story over 3 different expansions throughout the year. So one can infer from that the other mechanics will be returning in some of these other sets. So I'm kind of excited to see how that plays out. But they did definitely hint that there will be more of those to come. Are there any mechanics in particular that you guys are excited to see, or if not directly, but maybe harken back to in kind of the ways that they've talked about or they've shown that they're doing so far?
Inspire.
And we're done. The show's credibility just went through the floor. Thank you for that.
Well, with Gen and Baku, Inspire is going to be crazy good. Oh wait.
Sorry, wild players. We don't mean to like rain on your parade. Eric, do you have a thought right out the gate, or do you need a minute to think about it?
Spare parts. I want to put some spare parts on some lackeys.
Straight spare parts.
And I just want to get really weird with it.
Okay.
If we're getting weird with spare parts, bring Mech Mage back. Let's go.
Yeah.
You mentioned it last week.
We talked about this before.
Yeah, you mentioned it last week. You're excited now.
Can I just as an Easter egg mention Mech Mage at some point throughout each orbit?
I think you should. We can make it a meme. I mean, we are fans of memes here and running
Mech
jokes.
Mage is not a meme, thanks.
No, it wasn't. It was an absolutely dominant deck for like a year and a half. Before
I just like the idea
of
X showing up like gradually more and more each stream, having like slightly more bota-sized features and like a little like mage hood. And you're like, what do you mean? The amount of value that this generates is insane. I don't know. Whatever you think Robot XL sounds like, insert it in place.
I liked it.
I do like, for me personally, I do like that they're kind of like harkening back to Kazakus. I know people have mixed feelings about Kazakus, but let's be honest. The only reason Kazakus was good is because Priest's hero power was broken for a while. But Kazakus in and of itself was, I think, one of the best designed cards in the game, like ever. Like it was so clever and so it was so flexible and it rewarded skill and good decision making in a way that like I've said before, like I feel like only Discover is one of the few mechanics that comes close to that. So I would like to see more Kazakus like cards, or and I know we're getting one like that, which we'll get to in a minute. But I would like to see more of that. Maybe not a lot because I don't want it to be like oversaturating. But it's kind of like, and maybe it's because I love Discover, but it's kind of like Discover Plus. So I'm a big fan of like the Kazakus mechanic.
I think Kazakus is really cool. If they added more Highlander stuff, I would be very happy.
Yeah, I missed that that archetype.
Yeah, and I'm going to leave my thoughts on that there for now because I might want to talk about that very soon.
Exclusive content.
Teasing the tease. Okay, all right, all right.
So, Azrael.
Yes.
Well, I want to ask you because you're kind of the hero around here, like the actual superhero.
Oh, now I'm gonna blush. Okay.
It sounds like they're setting up sort of a situation where you have heroes versus villains, and I am curious. I think that's worth explaining, but two, I'm curious about your thoughts on it.
Okay. Some of you guys know I kind of like comic books, kind of like superheroes, and I definitely love me, like at least thematically, maybe not so much in the Hearthstone scene right now, but definitely thematically love me some paladins. So I'm super excited, like X was talking about this kind of like Avengers style, like good versus evil thing that they're going for. They're dividing the classes into two teams, the League of Evil and what they're calling the Defenders of Dalaran, and they're splitting the classes 5-4 because odd number of classes, but it's going to be Priest, Rogue, Shaman, Warlock, and Warrior are the League of Evil, and then it's going to be Paladin, Mage, Paladin, Mage, Hunter, and Druid. Thank you. Are going to be the Defenders of Dalaran, which I think is so cool, and I want to see them lean into the theme and have like in WoW lore style, but have like almost like superhero costumes at one point. Like I would love to see like one Captain America style Paladin hero skin. Oh my God, I would lose my. I don't care how like bad Paladin is in the future. I would play like Paladin 80% of the time just for that.
Yeah.
So I'm
Can
super
we get a
excited
red, white,
for
and
this.
blue Annoyotron?
Way to one up my ideas, sir.
Yeah.
No, dude, that was your idea. I just put a color on it.
That's true. I no, I love it. So I'm super excited about that in particular. And I'm glad that I'm kind of partial to the Hunter, and I love thematically the Paladin. So I kind of like the classes that are that are in the Dalaran Defenders, but. I can't wait to see how this plays out. What about you guys? I know X, you're excited, so I guess Eric, I'm going to bounce it back at you. Thoughts?
I mean, what I'm honestly looking forward to is the theorying. I want to say theory crafting, but crafting does not apply to the situation. So we're going to call it the theorying that's going to happen as far as what they will be doing. Considering we already know that Hagatha, Dr. Boom, we've got Rafam, and then we've got Togwaggle as like our villain. Oh, and then Lazul as like our villain. I'm excited to think about what they could be otherwise, and that's because also I like craft lore, and I know Exiles did not play Warcraft.
We love them anyway.
I played Warcraft for 2 months and I got somebody up to level 19. I can't even remember what it was.
I like it. Okay, no, you're part of the crew. That's honestly all it takes.
It's enough, yeah.
I'm a lore expert.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like going on vacation to a country where certain edibles are legal, and then you sampled them, you enjoyed them, and you came back.
It's the first comparison we all thought of.
It's the first place my brain went.
I mean, I definitely didn't bring any back with me. I'll be right back.
Yeah, what's that dog doing following me? Stop.
No, but so go. Oh wait, no, we were talking to Eric. I was about to just pop off with the League of Evil thoughts. I'm so excited.
I am too.
So
I'm pretty giddy too. Yeah.
We gotta have a face-off. I mean, because I feel like X could lean into League of Evil, and Azrael could lean into Defenders, and I could
I'm
see
100% on that.
Yeah, I can see some content. Welcome to our meeting.
funny enough, the 100
sounds like a Twitter poll.
100% thing I wanted to talk about. The 100% thing I wanted to talk about was the League of Evil, because that's what got me the most excited. So it's funny that you even bring that up, because I was thinking, what they take this League of Evil and it just goes completely away from the typical archetype. So typically, what do we think of? We think of Priest as being the control class. Mm-hmm. Well, it's now Shadow Priest because it's the League of Evil, which is now Aggressive Priest. They have Surrender to Madness. They have the Akanai Soul Girl, the 2-mana 3/2 that makes your hero power deal damage instead for the turn. So you have these tools here. And then for Rogue, you're going to go for a Control/Fatigue Rogue using the new Rogue scheme, Togwaggle's scheme.
Yep.
Togwaggle's scheme, where it just shuffles and turn 30 copies of some garbage into your deck and 30 Zilii in your deck, 30 Ziliaxes in your deck. 30 Zilii in your deck. And then Shaman, if they're setting up for a Control Shaman. Look, we saw Peanut Shaman not too long ago that Viper played in the Winter Championships and really kind of popularized. Dragon Shaman's kind of floating around. But Hagatha, what does she do? She really enables that long game. Shaman, the typically aggressive class, now has a control style that it can play. We move forward one more to Warlock, Rafam. What does he look like? He looks like a control hero, right? Archthief Rafam, or Archwell Rafam. And we're going to go into it in a moment, but basically he's one of those infinite value cards we need to be afraid of. But again, we'll talk about that later. He lends itself to a control style deck, and normally what is Warlock? Warlock is that mid-range or that aggro deck because it can replenish its resources. And Dr. Boom, it's a turn 7 Death Knight. Well, not Death Knight, it's a turn 7 hero card that can be used for value moving forward. So I'm thinking Rush Warrior. Think about the Boomsday stuff had the past year had the Mech Magnetic, which leans right into Dr. Boom being aggressive because they're basically neutral buffs, as well as the Dr. Boom hero card, like I said, and the Rush mechanic on top of all of that, leaning itself into an aggressive warrior. So I think they're going to take the classes in Evil and completely flip their archetypes up.
I love it. I got to tell you, you hit the nail on the emotional head for me. My first class that I really loved back in beta was Priest, and I tried so hard with the limited and terrible cards they had to make Shadow Priest work. And I got one that was actually kind of viable, but mostly because people were bad and didn't know how to play around it. Once they figured it out, the deck tanked. But I loved trying to make Shadow Priest work for a long time. It was the first class I got to 500 wins after they implemented that because I was having so much fun trying to make Shadow Priest work. So I'm super excited to see an actual viable Shadow Priest. I hope, just for that sake, you're right. What do you think they're going to do with, since you went total Dr. Deck on us?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's why we love you. Why we call you Professor X. What do you think they're going to do with the Dalaran Defenders then? Same thing, flip those archetypes.
I haven't exactly been able to get a good hold on that in particular, but I do have two thoughts on the remaining 4 classes.
Okay.
First one, Paladin, because I love me some Paladin. I just hate all the archetypes out there.
Right.
I want to play Spiteful Paladin until the end of the world,
Sure.
Paladin is set up to be the best mid-range class because its hero power really lends itself to a mid-range archetype. However, we don't have that. So what are they going to do for Paladin? They're going to make our favorite Highlander card the hero for Paladin. Reno damned Jackson, the Paladin, is what I'm saying.
I hope you're right. And when you play it, it restores you to full life?
Yep. Not neutral, Paladin only, Reno Jackson is what I'm saying.
Blizzard, hire this man right now. Hire him right now.
Yeah, jeez.
And the second thing that I'm saying is they're going to just gut Hunter. Hunter's not going to get a single damn good card. They're going to push the Death Rattle Hunter archetype, but Mechs and Death Rattle don't happen in Hunter. So
never mind, Blizzard. Don't hire this man.
Sorry, those are my two thoughts. Those are my two thoughts on the Dalaran Defenders. I didn't really have enough time to come up with another crazy theory.
No, I love it because it actually makes sense with how they have the card that converts all of Paladin's life to armor. You play that card, and then the next turn,
that's the call.
Next turn, you play Reno the Lightbringer, whatever.
Yeah. No, think about it, dude. Think about Thakal into coin Reno Jackson. How dirty that would be. 4 coin Reno on 5.
Gross.
The laugh.
I
The
love
laugh
it.
is what I don't like.
I love it.
And then Zandalari Templar.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, yeah.
X just broke
Anyway,
the meta.
sorry,
The meta hasn't even started yet, and he already broke it. Eric, what about you? You got any thoughts? Because we both gushed for different reasons. What do you think?
No, you did. Jeez Louise, I feel like I'm the beaver dam now. Like I don't know what to say. That was beautiful. Listening to Exiles talk was like watching like Picasso paint. Like the director of the Air Bud movies keep filming Air Bud movies. It was just beautiful.
You say such beautiful things, then you have to go and ruin them by continuing to talk.
Okay, listen here.
My wife's
Next to my Air Bud tattoo. Because all I got here, I was excited about this because, like I mentioned, the lore side of it was fun to think about in like theorycraft, but like I did not even think about mechanics and like the direction they could take the classes. I did think about what I think is maybe some fair guesses though, as far as what they're gonna do. I think for Mage, it's almost got to be a shoo-in that the character is gonna be Ronin. Ronin is already an existing legendary, which they have no problem repurposing existing legendaries into going forward.
Hagatha.
But Ronin is like exactly. Ronin is literally like the I don't know what the pinnacle of like Dalaran. Like when I think of Dalaran, even though I didn't play during that time, all I heard about was Ronin.
Mm-hmm.
And so having it be like, hey, this is a defender of Dalaran, and it's like the mage who literally like ran the town. Like I think that's gonna be a fun thing to see. Well, after Khadgar, but here's the deal. A lot of people didn't like Ronin, so I heard about Ronin more often.
Right.
For Druid, I thought because of all the treants, like Remulos would come back. For anyone who doesn't know, Remulos is like a half, like night elf, half. I always want to say horse, but it's not really. They're called like dryads, and they're kind of just like they've got. Just imagine a horse body, but it's not really that. It's like a tree horse. Yeah, the centaur. There you go. Or a tree horse, as some people would like to refer to them as.
Hashtag tree horse in chat, please.
Yeah, can we get some tree horse going real quick? And I just thought that because like they're clearly pushing treants, and I think this is the expansion. Like this is Druid's Frost Shaman expansion. So like,
I hope
we may as well lean into it.
Yeah. Can this be like if they're gonna go into like the whole Avengers thing or like the whole superhero thing? Can this be the one where a sniper with a kryptonite bullet assassinates Druid, and they release a special issue 500, the death of Druid, and then like he can like, of course, because it's a comic book, right? So they always come back, but he can come back in like 12 episodes, which is 12 months, and come back in the next expansion. If they're not gonna let us ban Priest, then by all means let us murder Druid.
I am good with murder. I am good. Let's go.
Hashtag death of Druid, issue 500 in chat, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Eternal Orbit's going to be hosting their own The Purge starring Exiles for them, so make sure to stand by for that.
Standing by for that.
Hearthstone Purge edition.
I've got two more people, but this next one's the only one that's like actually good as compared to the ones that I think are good. And the last one's Paladin, which like I don't know what they're gonna do. But someone mentioned this on Twitter. I completely agree. There's a card called Toshli. It's a gnome, and it's like exactly right. And they're like a gnome. They have a gun in their card art, and they're already leaning into mechs with Hunter. And the Hunter legendary almost looks like something that could have been built by a gnome. It's probably more goblin based, but it looks like it could have been built by a gnome, and maybe they'll retcon it that way. And so like it makes sense that they could they were a neutral card, but it makes sense they lean into Toshli being like their other defender. And I could see them being like, hey, we need a gnome in here, because you always need a gnome in there. Always.
Again, that's what my wife said. But no, that's dope, dude.
Got him.
I like it.
One alley oop.
I like it. Gnome hunters. Let's do it.
Nothing more beautiful. And that's it. And then Paladin, I didn't know what to put. I said Tyrellian, maybe, because Tyrellian, even though like not Dalaran based,
right,
they're like a very popular Paladin right now, considering the events of Legion going into. I think they have a pretty sizable role in battle.
Yeah, I'd say so. They're kind of important.
Spoken like a big know-it-all from a 90s sitcom, huh? I'd say so, Eric. I love you, Ezreal. You're the best superhero. And so anyways, like I think it makes sense from like a business standpoint to be like, hey, and here's a champion you can see by logging into Battle for Azeroth right now. Same way they had Rosticons had a whole thing.
I think the other idea that they were tossing around, if I remember from the developer emails we were getting on the Eternal Orbit Gmail business account, which for business inquiries, you can email eternalorbitgg@gmail.com.
Yeah, we'll bring it up later if you didn't have time to write it down.
Was that they were actually going to do a caricature of Azrael and use him as the paladin defender of Dalaran.
Oh my god!
But like a sultry Azrael.
Oh my god!
Maybe there's light in there, but there's a little dark.
Oh my god! I'd love that. I would die. I would retire. That would be life goal achieved.
Oh yeah. They made that Lone Defender card? That was based off one of their head designers.
Which one was?
Lone Defender, the 3-mana 2/4 that gains Taunt and Divine Shield.
Yeah,
that's literally the designer made it after themselves.
Not at all hubristic.
No, it's a great
card. I love it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else about like just the overarching mechanics or stuff that they talked about in the expansion that we should cover before we move forward?
As show feed or show cards, pick one.
I think I'm gonna go with cards here because I'm wearing shoes and socks, and it would be hard to get them both off in a timely manner. We've already.
You're wearing shoes inside?
Who said I'm inside?
Who said he's inside?
Yeah. I mean, look, night sky, blue behind me. I mean,
he's clearly in the Great White North.
Yeah, clearly. That hoodie's really doing work.
let's delve into our discussing some cards, because I know I'm chomping on the bit here, and we got like 12 cards and 5 lackeys to talk about. So without further ado, I say we just kind of go for it. What do you think?
I'm going to congratulate myself real quick. I only spoiled 3 of the cards up to this point.
Hey, you know what, though? Considering how excited we are to talk about them, I'm surprised we didn't talk or spoil more of them.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm just going to pop over. And I think the first card up here is Archvillain Rapham, which is a 7-mana, 7/8 Warlock Legendary, which reads Taunt and Battlecry. Replace your hand and deck with legendary minions. This is clearly a throwback to the Golden Monkey card from is that the right card there?
Yep. Which from the lady. What was her name?
Is Elise.
Elise.
The original Elise before they reprinted her.
Yep. She shoveled the Gold Monkey in your deck, which was 3-mana, a 3-mana 6/6. Turn all the cards in your hand and deck to Pug Champions, legendary cards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Archvillain Rapham. I really loved Elise. I never had Elise when I was playing back then, because I was super casual. Like I said, you guys know the story. I played for a few months and then just completely set the game aside for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I loved the card, even though I never got to play with it. And so being able to play with it, and it's in my favorite class, and they made it odd so I could play Odd Warlock in Wild, and it cost 7 so I could play it with Starliner and Defile in Wild. I mean, thank you, Blizzard. Like, I understand it's an infinite value card that we need to be afraid of, but if Mecha Cthulhu can exist, then thank you for letting Archvillain Rapham exist.
I'm gonna get excited when you throw it into your Pandaren deck with 4 Brewmasters.
That's gonna be great.
But no, Eric, no, shh, no, just go with it. Shh.
I'm gonna find a way to make them untargetable.
Yes,
you make them.
Shh.
What's that one Warlock card that it makes sure your hero immune?
That's not a Warlock card.
Aldemonic Project. Into. Oh wait, Demonic Project has changed. Shoot, damn it.
Oh, you're talking about Mal'Ganis. You mean like literally immune?
Changing Mal'Ganis to be targeting your cards, as in they cannot be changed anymore. I think it'd be a great idea, Blizzard. I'm open to inquiries.
I'm actually glad. Joking about the Brewmaster set, I'm actually glad that they made it that replaces the cards in your hand too, so you can't do that, because I could just see this becoming another oppressive ghost card. So
it already is an oppressive ghost card, but I'm gonna love it. So
it's a nice finisher though, right? Like you can
that's true.
In it gives like mid-range Warlock or even Zoo Warlock a way to win games when they just kind of get behind, right? They can YOLO for some hopefully big impactful cards. I mean, yeah, they'll probably get some like Chos in there and it's gonna suck. But when all of your cards are 3 2s and 3 4s, It'll be nice to have an option to like just reset your deck and win a game that you might otherwise not win, and you're only investing one card in doing it.
I could see the card being powerful enough for there to be the desire or the temptation to put it into a zoo or a mid-range style warlock. But I think that the most mid-range, like personally, I see it working in a hand lock scenario or a control lock scenario, but I'm not putting a 7-mana card in my zoo deck. Sure. I almost don't even want to put Leroy in because it costs 5.
People put Gul'dan in their zoo decks, though. So, I mean...
Exactly. Like I said, the temptation's there because it's that powerful of a card as it's that powerful. You're not wrong.
Man, I think Rafam looks like a more fun Whizbang.
We know how much you loved Whizbang for like a minute.
Yeah, if you were like... Bang, but I never had the chance. Craft Rafam, and you'll have a better 2 weeks than the people who crafted Whizbang. And that's like not fair, because clearly people played Whizbang decks who didn't necessarily have the cards to experience all these different things. But sometimes you'd queue up with the terrible decks like 5 times in a row, and you'd be on ladder, and you're on your final boss, and you're like, I just want to hit Legend. And so with Rafam, you have a better chance of actually hitting Legend. I think it'll be very fun. I'm definitely going to play it if I get it, but like, I don't know. Sorry to bring it down, but I think it's just going to be there for a good time. And then when it comes to the more competitive side, you'll start to see it fall or not cross over as much as we would all hope it to.
Clip it and start tagging the things that you want Eric to eat when this card becomes oppressive and they nerf it.
Please tell me how much gallons of water you want me to pour in my head.
When X hits rank 1 Legend with Archvillain Rafam handlock.
There you go.
I'm here for it.
Oh, I wish, dude. I wish.
Yeah, it's
right.
Well, we can make the YouTube clip now if we need like Oliver is going like, and then we got the card in the middle. Like we can do that. Just know that we all feel the same way.
Right.
But what else is on the
next, dude? Yeah, let's move on to the next one. Next we have Chef Nomi, a 7-mana 6/6 neutral legendary. Battle cry: if your deck is empty, summon 6/6 Greasefire Elementals, which I think are just neutral elementals, if I understand correctly. I know they showed a video of it, but I forgot to actually check before I popped in here today. But I believe they're just.
I'm going to pretend like I checked and confirm what you said.
Okay, all right. X hashtag confirmation bias. What do you guys think?
Well, it's pretty bad, but I could also see it being worse. So
right.
Like there's a synergy where you want to play Myra's Unstable and then you want to play Chef Nomi, and people are going to want to say something like Odd Rogue, and I'm going to want to laugh at them because it still costs 7 mana.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 legendaries that you're basing your game plan.
Yeah, exactly. It's bad with a side of really bad.
Right. Right. To me,
but I'm going to get it to go off.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will.
And then shuffle it. Yeah.
It's one of those things that looks like it should be good because it's like, look at all this value I get, and I can win games that go to fatigue. But then you realize I've got 5 hit points and I'm going to die in 2 turns if I don't kill them because I'm going to die to fatigue. So it's I see it being a card that's going to be good, like in maybe, I don't know, nope, I can't see a scenario where it's good. I can't see a scenario where it's good.
I got you. I got you. Here's what you do.
Oh God.
You play Chef Nomi, then you Grim Rally, then you Starliner.
Congratulations, Wild players who just gotta.
Yeah. Enjoy the free. That one's for free. Okay.
No, I mean, can anybody think of a legitimate deck that we can conceive of right now where that card would make sense, that you would want to draw or hold on to in your hand?
Mage.
What's that?
Big Spell Mage. It's Dragon Color Alana that costs 7 mana instead of 9.
That is true because it is 6 elementals. I guess that does make sense. Leave it to X to find a way to make that work. But do you want that in an already tight list, though? I mean, I guess it's a good sub.
I still wouldn't play it, no.
Yeah, as I say, I guess it's a good sub if you are missing a card and you have it. But I mean, if you've got, the cards to make a deck, why would you ever want to put that in over something that competes with it?
Like I normally say, you can either play that or you could play a good card.
Right, exactly. Chat says win more card. Jeremy, I agree.
Jeremy literally took my line.
Yeah.
Wow.
Other than win more, Rude, do you have anything you want to throw in on this one?
Well, I'm gonna set up the joke. The joke was gonna be, "Hey, Exiles, what's the opposite of lose less?" And Exiles would have said, "Pay less." The store that filed for bankruptcy. And I would have said, "No, it's win more." Yeah, no, that's the epitome of it. Like, if you were trying to make this work, you were trying to ignore maybe 20 other potential strategies that could have won you the game already. And that's being generous. So yeah, not much to say about it. Cool card art. Cool a lot of things.
It's a small buff to Shutterwalk though, which of course that needs help.
Oh my God. Okay.
Did I just steal your thunder,
Junior over here? Okay.
Yes, I was so excited looking at the Shutterwalk possibilities because you put it in Ice Cream Walk, right? So you're already gaining 1 million freaking armor.
True.
And now you're gaining 1 million armor.
Don't make people think about the words Ice Cream Walk.
Oh my God.
Does that make ice cream?
Back.
Does that make Ice Cream Shaman worse though?
Dude, Ice Cream Shaman is legit a deck now. Because imagine this: you now pick them all back up because you have Grumble in the pool, right?
Ooh.
And then you drop the one that makes all your elementals cost 1 less. So now you have a whole bunch in the. Oh my God.
Now you see why we love having conversations on Discord with X. We just give him it's like Chef Nomi. You just give him 4 ingredients and say, whip me up something special. It's Iron Chef Hearthstone edition starring Chef Exiles. Boom. I tied it all together. You see what I did there, guys?
The new deck builder is actually just me working tirelessly. Oh, you want to make a Paladin deck with Deathwing in it? Okay, let's make it even.
Yeah. Like red eyes, you're shaking. It's beautiful.
Oh my God. All right.
What are we going to tear to pieces next?
Move on to the next card. We have the card that we were talking about earlier, the Evil, all caps EVIL, Miscreant. 3 mana, 1/5, rogue common, combo add 2 lackeys to your hand. X, you were pretty excited about the lackey card, so you want to start us off on the conversation here?
Yes, I love it because it fits right into my thing of control rogue, right?
Mm-hmm.
This plus Togwaggle's scheme. Can you imagine Togwaggle scheming this back into your deck on turn 29 when you're about to hit fatigue and the odd warrior on the other side is like, hey, I can win at fatigue. And then you're like, hey, no, you can't. It'll be great. It'll be great. But in all seriousness, what does it remind me of? It reminds me of Elite Tauren Champion.
Ooh.
Only slightly worse.
Wow.
Ooh, good reference. Good reference.
Throwback.
Yeah. And for the people that don't know Elite Tauren Champion.
Card's not even a game anymore, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah, the Elite Tauren Champion is it costs 4 mana? Is it 5 mana?
I believe it was 5 mana.
Yeah, it was a 5 mana 5/5, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it put the
very
card
cool cards
in your opponent's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very cool cards. The cards rock.
They do.
But yeah, and they had some sort of overpowered effect for their mana costs. Obviously, you normally got to play yours first, but it didn't always work that way. But in that way, where it's a powerful card that gives you more powerful cards, it feels like it has the same power level. And if you guys know how good Elite Tauren Champion was, you'll know how good Evil Miscreant will be. Even with 29 other cards to support it, the card was still trash. So we need more support. But I want to play with it. I think it's going to be fun.
Eric, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a fun card. It's not going to be this is not going to be the corner piece of your deck. You're not going to be running an Evil Miscreant Rogue. That's not the name of it. And let's clip it. But I don't know. It seems like a fun time. I think the biggest piece that people have to look at is the fact that obviously it's generating value and it's generating overstated value.
Right.
So I don't know. I see people experimenting with it. I don't know. It's going to be tough because we're getting to the point now where we have to start thinking of decks that are going to exist outside of the current meta.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to think about cards that haven't even been created yet.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting. Get ready for our full thoughts on Thursday, April 5th at normal time, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Thursday, April 4th, you say?
Yeah, Thursday, April 4th.
What's happening on the 4th?
Oh boy,
card stream of some kind.
You guys,
special edition.
Are you even
review?
listening to me?
Huh.
Where we'll have more well-rounded opinions, but I'm cautiously optimistic about it, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I'm in the same boat as you are, because I understand it's a terribly stated card, and the lackeys, as powerful as they are, I don't know if you're going to be able to make up, because aggro's still a thing, guys. I don't know if you're going to be able to make up for the tempo loss with if you just miss on your lackey cards, you probably just lose the game if you play this on turn 3, right? Like, this is not a card you're going to play on turn 3. You're going to play this on turn 6 or something. Try to combo the lackeys, or that's the kind of thing. So it's like, how do you make this work in a deck that's already going to be tight and refined? It's going to, I don't know. I want it to work. Yeah, I want it to work. But I've seen this before. I see a card like this that my knee-jerk reaction is, that's cool, it looks powerful, and then it just ends up being a card that I always thumb past whenever I'm looking to put cards in a deck that I'm making. So if they give it more support, like X said, I think this is going to be not just a powerful card, but a fun card. But I'm afraid it's just going to be another one that they release at launch because it looks really cool and interesting. It shows off the new mechanic, but then it just disappears. So, if I was to put a number on it right now in a vacuum, I'd be like, 3.5, 4, somewhere in there. Just kind of lukewarm on it. So with that, let's move on to the next one. Eric, why don't you talk about this one, because you kind of hinted at it earlier, I think.
Oh yeah, thank you for being a homie. All right, so we got Lazul's Scheme. Or wait, no, Lazul's Scheme was the one I was talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you can talk about this one too.
Okay. We do Forbidden Words, yeah, because it's another concept that that we actually didn't really discuss in as much detail as everything else. But Forbidden Words is along the line of a few other cards that they're going to be introducing. I'm pretty sure just for each class. Where you actually, did Priest only get Forbidden cards?
No, they got this in Lazul's.
Okay.
Were the two that were released so far.
And so with this mechanic, at least, it harkens back to an older mechanic where you spend all of your mana and it has a certain effect based on how much is actually being used. So I'm pretty sure Paladin had a similar one where you could heal yourself.
They did.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a feeling, if not every class will be getting these, at least multiple classes will be getting these. And I don't know, Forbidden Words, it's a 0 mana card that can be absolutely gross, especially when you're a class like Priest, where you can potentially take advantage of a lot of card draw. So there's a chance that I don't know. I'm trying to think what Machine Gun Priest can start to come out. But I don't know. That Priest regenerates 0 mana, heal for 2. Obviously wasn't super crazy, but I think this has potential. It's removal, which Priest needs. You can't undervalue that enough, considering Priest is, unless they fully lean into aggro Shadow Priest, Priest has been a control-ish style deck for a very long time, built on the mid game and late game. So
right.
I don't know. I think it makes sense. It fits what they've established for the class's identity.
And for those listening on the podcast, Forbidden Words is the card that we're talking about. It's a 0 mana priest spell, rare priest spell, and it reads: spend all your mana, destroy a minion with that much attack or less. So those 4 mana minions are no longer safe, or 4 attack minions are no longer safe. X, what about you as an avid priest player and proponent of further priest power? What do you think about this card?
I absolutely love Murloc Priest, right?
Best start of a sentence I've ever heard.
You love Murloc anything.
You're right. You're right. I'll like anything if they add Murlocs to it as.
Mm-hmm.
But this one in particular lends itself to the aggro priest archetype I've been talking about, because you put it in the aggro deck that I'm talking about with Surrender to Madness, so you're losing 2 mana crystals. Who freaking cares? This costs 0. With your Dredge King, it's called the 3/3 that makes a 2/1 taunt.
Yes.
Yeah. So then you also have the Gadget Stand Auctioneer you put in there. You have the Auchenai Lady. You have the Regenerate. You have a whole host of 0 and 1 mana cost spells now, and you have Grave Horror, which costs 1 less for each spell that you've cast this game. So now you take Forbidden Words and Grave Horror and this Swamp Dredge card. You're able to build a tokeny board, clear the biggest threat with Forbidden Words after having already played your 2-mana 3/2, the Auchenai Lady, hit with that circle, clear the board, and finish up with your, I don't know, whatever your finishing card is. You just F people up with this card. It's going to be awesome in aggro priest archetypes.
Yeah, I agree. That's where I saw it fitting into control priest. They don't need this. They've got other ways to deal with big threats. I'm sure this will get in control priest too, but I could see this being. It's the same reason why silence why like Spellbreaker and Owl and Black Knight even is sometimes played in aggro decks. It's cheap, flexible removal. That allows them to do what they want to do, which is get their dudes on your other dudes' faces. So, I think it's a card that's going to see mostly play in mid-range and aggro, but a little bit in control, but I don't think that's where it's going to be most at home. Overall, I think it's a pretty decent card, though. I don't dislike it at all. And the fact that it's a rare is probably going to have some more impact on the arena, which we can talk about in the future, because the rare cards are obviously more common, and it's removal in priest, which can be very valuable in that format. So I'm interested to see what they build around it, but I like the card overall. I don't really have a lot of bad to say about it. I think it's just a solid card.
It might be the best card printed thus far, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Because I think a lot of these cards are like they're like spectacle cards. Like they show them because they show off the new mechanic, or they look cool, or they look like really like crazy. But that's just like a solid card that's just going to be like quietly in a lot of decks, and it's just going to be a workhorse. And I think that's a good way to put it. X, nice observation. Speaking of X, you want to kick us off with the next card?
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about, and it keeps going back to my insane theory of the Oppo identity classes. So what this next card is, Hack of the Scheme. It's deal 1 damage to each minion, to all minions, not to each minion, to all minions, and it upgrades each turn. It costs 5 mana. I should have started with the mana cost, but here we are. So Peter Whalen on Twitter said that the schemes will upgrade forever. There's no cap on them. So Hack of the Scheme on turn 10, if you had it in your opening hand, will be 5 mana, deal 10 mana damage to everything, and win the game. So it fits really well into the control archetype, as we talked. And we were just talking about how the priest Forbidden Words, the priest removal spell, would fit into an aggro priest. Well, what is the difference? Why does one go into aggro and the other go into control? It mostly has to do with the maximum upside on it. What is the maximum upside on Forbidden Words? Kills a Lich King or the Darkness, or it kills something. Hack of the Scheme, what is the upside on it? It deletes the board from the game. It's a 5 mana Twisting Nether.
Yeah.
Well, in aggro, you don't want to play a 5 mana Twisting Nether. In aggro, you don't want to play 5. So give this to me. Let me draw it on turn 3, play it on turn 7, then play Hagatha, clear the board again, and win the game. That's what I'm saying. The card looks great. I love it.
Glowing review from X. Eric?
Leaning into it deep. Well, and so you have to think about this because this card is essentially replacing Volcano for Shaman as far as their board removal tool, because Volcano is being rotated out. So the one thing that I'm still struggling with these schemes is the idea that, like, obviously these are just that are still in your 30 card deck.
Right.
The only thought I have about Control Shaman is it feels like it's not developed enough yet. And maybe that's just my ignorance, but I'm not sure. But I'm trying to think of the other supporting cards that you have. I know you have Lightning Storm. You can run you can run other things. You can freeze their board. You can do single target removal. You have all that kind of stuff. Hex. But I don't know. I'm not fully sold on it yet. I think once I feel like Shaman has all the tools that they need to just totally deal with the onslaught of whether it's another aggro deck or another control deck, then like this will be gross. But I don't know. I'm not all the way there with it. But like the card itself is what we're reviewing. The card itself is strong.
Right.
I think it needs better supporting cast.
Sure. I think that this card is just Shaman has traditionally like just really good spells. They just have great spells. I think this is another great spell. But how many times have we said, like in the past, I can't tell you how many times as a closet Shaman fan, I've always wanted Shaman to be like good without being like Shutterwalk good. Not good in that way, but I've always loved the idea of Shaman being good. And probably because I was a Shaman main for a long time in WoW as well. So I'm kind of partial to them because I love the spells and I love the effects, and I like their flexibility and the fact that they're a class like Warlock that lends himself in theory to a wide range of deck types. But I feel like every time I see Shaman cards, I get excited and then disappointed because they look really powerful, but then we try to put them together and make them work. They just, unless they're completely broken because one, has the word Shutterwalk written on it, then everything else just kind of feels meh. So I want to see what they have to fit around it. The only thing I can see this working in right now is some sort of like ultra control spell Shaman, where they just use all of their ridiculous spells to blow the board up and then, get them back with things like Cragwaw, or like a Malagos Shaman, something like that. I was
about to say Mali Shaman.
Yeah, that's kind of where my brain is leaning when I look at this. But I mean, that's been tried to make a legitimate deck for 5 years, and it kind of is, So, powerful card by itself, but when I zoom back out and I think of it in Shaman right now, it's going to need some help, like Eric said. So. That's about all I got. Let's see here. What do we got next? I kind of want to give this one to X because I'm pretty sure he's going to have some fun things to say about this one. So X, take it away.
Spellword Jeweler? Collect Ghost. I thought you were going to give me Spellword Jeweler because that's one I'm anyway. So Collect Ghost, a 10 mana 4/12. A 10 mana 4/12 in Mage. 10 mana 4/12 in Mage. But your first spell each turn costs 0, but it's a 10 mana card. But you can cry and discover a spell, but it's a 10 mana card. So for the cost of one more than Ysera, you can have a 20 times worse effect. Let's go! So obviously the upside, let's look at the maximum amount of upside for this card, right? Maximum amount of upside is that you either discover Flame Strike, Blizzard, or Pyroblast, right? So you can play it alongside an AoE spell. If you don't play it with an AoE spell, you're going to lose the game because it has no by itself impact on the board. It doesn't have taunt, it doesn't have rush, it doesn't have any way to have its 4/12 presence be known. And I don't know about you, but on turn 10, I don't think a 4/12 is a very good card. So the second half of it, the text on it, because it clearly fails the vanilla test, the text on it needs to be good enough. And I don't think that discovering one mage spell and being able to play it for free is good enough. And I think that if you're playing this in a deck where it's going to, if you're playing it against a deck where it's going to live, you are already going to win that game anyway. Mm-hmm. So here I am. I'm here to smash everybody's hopes and dreams. And I know everybody's so excited for the Year of the Dragon. The Mage Collect Ghost is going to be great. We're going to have the Dose Ghost deck with Mali and Collect Ghost in it. Nah, fam. Do that if you want to lose. Next.
Again, just to give the podcast listeners a little perspective here, it's Kalecgos is a mage legendary dragon, 10 mana, 4/12 stat line. And its text reads: your first spell each turn costs 0, and it has battle cry. Discover a spell. Eric, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, here's the first thought: don't coin this because you will not get a free spell. So only play this on turn 10 if you're going to run a deck. That's my first PSA for everybody, because there's gonna be clips. I don't want to see my friend being clipped.
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
I'm looking where I'm looking.
You monster.
You've already had a very successful clip this week of RNG. So
yeah.
Prep coin seed. So yeah, I don't know. I this is interesting to me because again, Control Mage, as we know it, is pretty much saying bye. and we're gonna have to look at and I think that's the only, like, you cannot run this, in my opinion, in a tempo mage, a traditional tempo mage. Like, you're not dropping this on 10 and playing your fireball. You're like, I got the board though with my 412. Like, that's not it. So you can only, in my opinion, either evaluate this in like hand mage, with like Astromancer and everything, and whatever that other hilarious card is that does damage to your opponents based on how many cards are in your hand. Heavy elemental mage or like control mage. And I don't know. It feels like you're wasting a slot anywhere else except for control mage. So I don't know. And then the battle, like, just discovering a spell is always there's so many things up in the air, and when you see yourself adding these butts and butts and butts to a card in Hearthstone, and it's not the unreleased Peach card, then you need to think about the fact that this will probably be a card that isn't reliable enough to really make itself one of the 30 most, important cards you think can go into your deck. So I think this will still be fun. I don't know. But same as X. I'm not as I'm not as down on it as Exiles, but I'm definitely not as up on it as I know a lot of people have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have two real things I want to touch on with this card. Number one, Pocket Galaxy is a card. If you hit that card before you play this one, then it's bonkers. I'm not quite as down on this card though. I think that Dragon Mage is a legit deck, and I think Dragon Mage is going to be a legit deck, and I think that the effect is persistent. Your first spell each turn costs 0. That's a persistent effect. And if they introduce more ways to add random spells to your deck, or draw spells, or create spells, or generate spells, or twin spells, and you can keep this guy alive using the proven, quote unquote, or at least potential dragon cards that exist right now, because I've been having fun with the dragon mech the dragon mage that currently exists on the ladder as it is. I think Kibler is the one that's kind of like championed it, and that deck works. So this card could find it a home in that deck. Yeah, it's wonky. Yeah, it's got a really, really, really high mana cost, and yeah, it's on average worse than Ysera, but it can, I think, find a home in decks, and I think it's going to see more play than we might be giving it credit for. I think this card is actually going to be viable. I'm just going to put it out there right now. I think this card is going to be viable, and I think Dragon Mage will be not necessarily a tier 1 deck, but I think it'll be a deck that has some competitiveness and can make a stand on the ladder. That's my risky call for the evening. But I'm hopefully optimistic about this card.
I want to put it out there for the chat, because I know, and for anybody who's going to watch it or listen to the podcast, because I know you guys have heard me say it before. I'm close to cutting Gul'dan from Even Lock because it costs 10 mana.
Mm-hmm.
And think about how impactful that card is in that deck, and like how well I know that deck in particular.
Right.
So it has to be more impactful than that for me to want to play a 10 mana card.
Sure.
That's where I'm coming from and why I emphasized and said 10 mana so many times. So sure. I'm glad you touched that as well as.
Okay. Anything else before we move on?
I think we got it.
All
April 4th.
All right. This time for real, Eric. This one's all you, buddy.
Oh boy, here we go. All right. So Lazul's Lazul's scheme.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, exactly. I thought I was pranking myself into the last card. So Lazul's scheme, which I'm actually more excited about, maybe it's because I'm a fool, but it's a 0 mana epic priest spell. The card text reads: reduce the attack of an enemy minion by 1 until your next turn. Upgrades each turn. So again, gross that it's another 0 mana priest spell. Like, yeah, geez Louise. They're and the fact that they've introduced such cheap priest spells like regenerate last expansion as well. Yeah, I'm super curious about this card. Honestly, the first thing that my mind went was you can play it and you can steal your opponent's card with the Cabal Shadow Priest, and you can just take their Lich King for 6 mana. It's just a mind control on demand. Like again, these are texts that you're having to think about, like you're playing around things that you may not have to, like, oh, never mind, take their whatever Dire Mole's replacement's going to be instead. The 1/3 that has the health and the armor. Although not really. Anyways, it allows you to do that. It allows you to do things like a Shadow Word Pain as well. I don't know. It's a card that lends itself to some combo pieces that Priest already naturally will be running. And so I'm super curious about it. I think I did not get the memo about the aggro Priest though, or else I would have had a better kind of like a prepped response towards aggro Priest. But in Control Priest, I think it has potential, and I'm super curious about it. I cannot overstate enough that Priest is about to lose so many powerful cards. So like I'm thinking in that vacuum of what has to be filled in, I could see this being filled in.
I know how I feel about this card.
How do you feel, Az?
I think this card's going to be damn near oppressive. I think this card is one of the most powerful cards that we've seen released so far.
Really?
I think so. Because and Eric hinted at it already. Just because that combo for 6 mana to steal any card you want or kill any card you want by comboing it with Shadow Word Pain. I think it's going to be super powerful, and I think it's going to be one of those cards where it's going to be like every time you play Priest, you're going to have to play around this card. You're just going to have to. You're going to have to. I think it's okay in aggro mid-range decks. You play your big threat, even if you don't want to steal it, you just make it one, trade your stuff into it, heal your guys up, and their big threat's gone. Or if it's like a powerful card with a persistent effect or a powerful effect, you just steal it for free or kill it for free. I think this card is going to be pretty popular. Based on what we've seen right now, and obviously we've only seen 12 cards, but I think this card is going to be one of those cards that people are like, God damn it, Priest. That's what I'm feeling when I see this card. I'm super excited for it in one aspect, because there is a part of me, again, Priest is my homie from back in the day. So there's part of me that is super excited to see a powerful Priest card. There's also part of me that goes, not again. But I think it's actually going to be I think it's going to be a really popular and good card. I'm really excited about it.
I hate to once again be the contrarian here, but I'm not on board with this scheme. Like, so we were talking earlier when we were going through Hagatha's scheme, right? It was, well, what if it's the 30th card in your deck? Well, if it's the 30th card in your deck, you have a 5-mana Whirlwind. What if Lazul's scheme is the 30th card in your deck?
Sure.
It does literally nothing ever.
Sure.
So, like, we look at worst case scenario there. Now let's look at best case scenario. Best case scenario, I'm stealing your 20/20 Darkness on turn 6 or whatever. I'm stealing your Lich King for 6 mana. Okay.
Yeah.
Best case scenario. Best case scenario for Hagatha's, we talked about, was clearing the entire board and then as a result directly winning the game. So it feels to me that Hagatha's scheme is stronger, and because it's less dependent on other cards. And for that reason, I don't believe in the scheme. What's up, Az?
Wall Priest.
What about Wall Priest? We still hate them.
Reduce their attack to 1. Flip Shadow Madness. Flip it over. Hit him in the face with it. Oh
yeah, absolutely. That sounds disgusting.
That's the kind of thing that's among the options that this card creates.
Brokart's dead.
Sure.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that it does fit better, as we were talking about, into one of these mid-range or control archetypes. Like, I think it goes well in Dragon Priest and Wild. I think it fits right into there. But aside from that, I'm not seeing, like, personally, I'm not seeing the power level of it. I could just be a Priest hater, and I'm okay with that. Like, that's tattooed on Eric's arm next to the I don't know, My Little Pony tattoo is Tim hates Priest.
It was a long weekend.
It was a long.
Yeah, and I could just be an old school Priest fanboy here that wants to see Priest have some interesting cards, or maybe it's some sort of post-traumatic Priest syndrome where I'm just like, every card that Priest get is somehow going to be broken and overpowered. But I see this card having some interesting potential. Yeah,
and like it still does fit in with the Gadget and Auctioneer, the Dredge, all those, the cheap cards that go in the aggro deck, but I just don't think it'll find the home there, and that's why I don't like it. If it could find a home in that aggro deck, I'd be cool with it. But
100% fair. Anything else? Anybody else want to chime in?
I feel like I could talk about this card in particular forever.
The Lazules or the next one?
Yeah, Lazul scheme. Honestly, it's got so much nuance to it. On the 4th, you're not going to shut me off though.
Oh, no. The 4th is going to be a 4-hour stream, guys. We're going to be here all day.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go off, guys. You want the in-depth, dig deep arguments? Tune in on the 4th.
And then I'll let other people talk after the 4 hours.
And that's fine. That's fine. We make our job easy. We can just sit here and like brush each other's hair, and it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
just let me touch your hair just one time.
Ooh.
TwitchCon's so close.
I can't wait. This one, for no reason other than the fact that I'm kind of the Hunter fanboy of the group here. I'm gonna talk about this one. This one is the Oblivitron, 6 mana, 3/4 legendary mech minion for Hunter. Death Rattle. Summon a mech from your hand and trigger its Death Rattle. Okay, I have been staring at this card since they released it, trying to find a way to love this card because, Hunter, right? Death Rattle Hunter is good, right? So this card must be good. Play Dead's still going to be in the meta, so this card must be good. It's a 6 mana 3/4, and if you don't have like 3 other cards to make this card good, it's a 6 mana 3/4 in your hand. It has synergy with Ziliax, so it must be good. This with Katrina could be good. There are ways to make this good. I think it's a card that because we are losing some Death Rattle Hunter potential here. Like, I don't think this is going to be a mech hunter thing unless they dump a bunch of mech into the expansion, which they could. We did talk about like GVG could be a thing that comes back, but unless they dump a bunch of mech in here, I think this is going to be more of a Death Rattle synergy than a mech synergy. But it's going to need a little more help than this because this, I think, lends itself more to Recruit Hunter than anything else. And the only Recruit Hunter card that really is going to stay is Katharina. So it feels like one of those cards that could be good, but unless I see more, I'm not going to get super stoked about it, and I'm just going to resign myself. Again, unless I see some more, I'm going to resign myself to it's another bad Hunter Legendary, and I'm just going to hate my life for another couple months of the expansion, until the next expansion. So that's my piece on it. I'm meh until I see more. X, thoughts?
No.
For more on this card, join me April 10th with Mechathune Hunter.
Literally, yeah. It's on everyone's mind, so we may as well plug it at this point.
That's all I got, really. Like, you hit it on the head there. Like, it's a pretty bad card. You could play it with Abominable Bowman. It works pretty cute, like with the Boomzooka. But really, the only place that I see it is it could be Recruit Hunter. You would know better than myself. I've played a bunch of Hunter, but not much Recruit Hunter, and Mechathune Hunter.
Yeah,
I have a lot of experience with very bad Hunter decks. Like, I made the Dragon Recruiter Hunter deck. I have Star Aligner Hunter. I have a lot of really bad Hunter decks. This goes perfectly in my bad Mechathune Hunter. Next.
Guys, it's a wait and see card or a bad card if that's all X has to say.
Yeah. If Exiles mentions that they're gonna play it in the expansion's out, it's not a good card. I think it's like the best way. That's just the best way to sum up anything that's ever been released ever.
Touche.
In the world. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to every minute of it. Yeah, I don't know. Mechathune Hunter literally is the only thing that comes to my mind. Again, as we mentioned, Hunter's losing Play Dead, they're losing Cube, they're losing Terror Scale Stalker. They do have that one card that's 6 mana, I believe, and triggers your Death Rattle twice. So you have to hope that you can, over 2 turns, trigger this twice to do something. So Mechathune is the only one my mind can lend itself to, but at the same time, the reason that Mechathune decks, as they are now, work so well is those decks can get through their deck. Those decks can get through, their deck, I suppose, so fast. What is Hunter? A class that traditionally has not been able to get through their deck so fast. The only reason now they can relatively get through it soon is because they have a card that draws 3 beasts for 3 mana, and they have tracking. But at this point, tracking is going away, and we are talking about a mech card, so that is not a beast. I don't.
Away?
Tracking's not going away, but
Okay.
sorry if it. Wait, tracking is going away. I thought. Is that Witchwood?
Tracking's classic.
Wait,
It's
it's
a
a
standard
classic
card. It's a standard card.
pranked.
Yeah, it's. I did. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
No. So that's
thought.
just. There's no good synergy with this. There's gonna be fun decks. I'm sure we'll hear about something, and it'll be fun to think about. But it's, and you know what? No, we're not going to. End of sentence.
Boomzuka. This card could work in a Boomzuka Hunter.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so tough though.
If you guys want to see this card played, you can basically come to my stream or, no, that's it.
Yeah.
I'll be playing a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah, this card, like right now, again, if they put a lot of help in the deck, the class, sure, we'll see. But right now, it's like, okay, Boomzuka, Mechathune, it's a meme card at best, or like a card that you fill in a slot when you don't have a complete collection, and you're just like, it seems kind of powerful. But yeah, all right. Anything else? Because it just breaks my heart to look at it right now. All right, let's just. Hunter, it was fun while you had your year in the sun.
Oh, Hunter's not going anywhere.
Oh no, they're not. Bow to your new overlords for the next 2 or 3 months with mid-range Hunter still. X, this one's all you, my friend.
This has got to be the spell jewel.
Oh,
yes.
So we just went over a fantastic card called Oblivitron for the 6 mana 3/4. This is a 3 mana 3/4 called Spellword Jeweler. It's called Spellword Jeweler. Already better. It has a battle cry which reads, "Your hero can't be targeted by spells or hero powers until your next turn." Pretty interesting. We already have an effect like this in standard, where it's the god. It's a 3/6. It's the Kobold
Monk.
Thank you.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Thank you. It's the Kobold Monk. It's the 4 mana 3/6 that has the same thing, but it's not Battlecry. Number one thing I want to point out is that it passes the vanilla test. This is the first card that's been released that passes the vanilla test. What is the vanilla test, chat? It's if you erase all of the words on the card, every single letter, is it still good? All you have is the numbers. 3, 3, 4. I'm playing it. This and Untamed Beastmaster are going in the same deck. This goes in every mid-range deck, honestly.
Yeah, heck yeah. Eric?
Yeah, it's a good body. I don't know. It's so weird because like the effect is honestly such an afterthought. I think you can try to play around with it and be cute with it, but honestly, you're gonna want to drop this for the body is the big thing. And if you get the bonus effect on because it's a battle cry, you can only use it once. Unless you're really worried about them having that ping face for lethal. It would have to be mage ping because I'm pretty sure this won't stop Hunter.
You can still cheaty ankle biter face.
You can still cheaty ankle biter face. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then yeah, you're looking at what amounts to just a solid body. And I think considering the fact that we were about to lose so many premium cards, a solid body is a safe space to be in.
I couldn't agree more. The first thing I noticed about this card before I even read the text was the stat line. But now after talking to X tonight, and I'm convinced, 100% convinced that Reno Din is going to be a thing. This card makes it into Reno Din for sure because this is a substitute for only having one timeout in your Reno Din. It's like a soft substitute to buy you a little time. You know, because you can only have the one timeout until you can get that super Reno value. Because you play the timeout, you do all the things to hurt yourself a whole bunch and get all that health value, and then you Reno. But this buys you time in between there. So I see this being played in that kind of a theoretical deck. But otherwise, this is going to go into every aggro, every mid range, or most mid range decks, at least until we get the second and third expansion this year, when we have more than what is it with the classic cards plus the last expansion, we got like 600 cards to play with or something like that. We're pretty light on cards, so until we get the next couple of sets to really get us some depth, I think this card is going to be fairly ubiquitous, and the effect is really powerful too, especially when you see like as much. I mean, I know Odd Mage is going away, but for example, think about how much Odd Mage we see right now. Does this prevent you from being able to be targeted by Rogue? Or like, no, you still get hit by weapons, right? So it is kind of limiting, but it makes me wonder what they want to do with hero powers to make this a thing. Like, what are they doing? Are they going to bring back the mechanic that allows you to cast your hero power multiple times, i.e. Kobold Dragon? Is that what it was called?
We have Water Boy.
Yeah. So, I mean, it counters Quest Warrior?
Hell yeah.
Actually, it doesn't counter Quest Warrior because that's random. But, you know, it makes me interested to why they would put this in there as far as, are they going to start playing around with hero powers a little more, or is it just they thought it was a cool idea and they wanted to throw it in there? So, but that's the kind of thing I look at when I see something like that. So, next we have. I'm trying to figure out which one of those would be the most appropriate to read this. So I'm just going to throw it up there, and whoever wants to talk first can have it.
But we all know what it's going to be.
Oh,
that's not what I was expecting.
Swamp Queen Hagatha. Yes, there's a shaman card. I'm going to talk first.
Yeah.
It's a 7-mana 5/5 legendary that reads Battlecry. Add a 5/5 horror to your hand. Teach it 2 shaman spells. This is really cool because when I saw the video on it, it taught, it quote unquote taught 2 spells. It taught Lava Burst, which is the 3-mana deal 5 damage to a single target, and Bloodlust is what it selected. So it had the targeted and the non-targeted spell. You got to play the horror, target an enemy minion, destroy it, and Bloodlust is crew and swing for lethal. He still did get overloaded, so that's a part of it. And yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. What does this do? This goes perfectly in Reno Shutterwalk Shaman. Wait, Reno's and Paladin. This goes perfectly in Shutterwalk Shaman. Just give me Reno for all these sick value cards. We're going back to the days of no infinite value, just a crap ton of it.
Yes,
I want to play with these money value cards.
Yeah.
Thank you, dude. I just want to see all of these cards work. I'm so excited. Eric, what are you thinking, my man?
I just honestly love that they've said, you know what, Shaman is going to be the class that is like the most lottery machine class in any game that's ever existed. Like, you are either going to be going home in like, the fancy car, or you're going to be asleep underneath the sewer. Like, and I don't know.
Underneath the sewer.
With Hagatha. Yeah, underneath the sewer. And I don't know, and that's kind of how I feel about Swamp Queen Hagatha. The nice thing about Swamp Queen is it does set up this additional world where control shaman can exist. Because clearly, you look, it does not pass the vanilla test, as Exiles mentioned. It's 7 mana, 5/5. It generates another 5 mana 5/5 that has all this extra value, but at its base, rather not play a card that's 7 mana 5/5. So you have to think about, okay, well, if I'm going to be doing this, I want to make sure at least I have a clear board. Or at least I have something protecting my board, and that's where these additional protectors come in. I'm not honestly 100% sold on this card. It just makes me too. It's slot machine shaman, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, I know ice fishing rotates. I'm like pretty sure, but like, what if ice fishing was still in the game when this came out? You get ice fishing and like earth shock, and it earth shocks your own face, and it doesn't matter. It can't do that because earth shock only hits minions. But like, just like think of the potential. I don't know. And that's the thing is you have to, and I've probably contradicted myself on this point tonight even, but when it comes to Hearthstone in any competitive sense, consistency is key. You play the highest stat line that you can win, and this card is not something that I think you can reliably look at and say, you know what, this is how I win games. But people said that about original Hagatha too. Original Hagatha saw all of the play. So I don't know. I'm cautiously pessimistic on this one.
Yeah, is that it?
It's like yeah. That's
if my face wasn't giving it away, let me tell you something. All right, this isn't the best card we've seen. It's not the most powerful card we've seen, but this might be my favorite card we've revealed so far. And you guys know I hate random. But it's not really totally random because it's Discover. I love me some Discover, but. This card to me is a couple things I want to say. Number one, this is what UI should have been. Something like this is what UI should have been. This is like, oh, we learned our lessons from UI, but we still want to have like kind of cool like powerful these spells. But it also is the throwback to holy crap, brain fart. We just talked about it. Kazakus. It's a throwback to Kazakus, which I really, really like. I think, and I'm trying to be objective here because my emotional attachment to the potential of this card is very, very high. But I think this card is going to be good. I think it's going to be in a lot of decks. I think you're going to see it played with in a tempo or mid-range shaman build that is utilizing cards like Shudderwalk. And I think it's going to be a solid card with upside. I think it's going to be because you get two of those effects and you get at least a 5/5 body with it. I think it's going to be and it's going to get comboed with Shudderwalk. I think the value from this card is going to be legit. And I think it's going to, because you get two spells, I think it's going to be consistent enough. Because like Rune Spear, what was the problem with Rune Spear, right? You get 3 damage for like 82 mana or whatever that fucking thing cost. And sometimes you got lethal. We all know one of my favorite clips is that exact thing. And sometimes, you get like, forked lightning. But because you get the 2 discovers, yeah, you can miss on one and still get value off the second one. And you get the 5/5 body. And then if you're coupling it with that backdoor Shudderwalk action, which we all love, by the way. If you've never tried it, pay the extra money at the parlor, get the VIP room. I'm telling you right now.
Tell them Azrael sent you.
Well, that's the discount code. No, but seriously though, I think that because you get 2, that will increase the consistency enough to make you watch. This card's going to be, I think, a contender to be fairly ubiquitous. I actually am very high in this card. Is it a good stat line card? No. Is it going to have the stat consistency or blah, blah, blah? No, it's not. But it's going to make up for it with its potential, in my opinion. And because you have the Discover and you get it twice, I have a feeling that this card is going to turn out to be better than many people will initially think when they look at it.
One quick note on the card that hasn't been brought up is Swamp Queen Hagatha works with the hero card Hagatha because it gives you another minion, so another spell.
Synergy.
Just a quick note.
Bingo. Yeah. Like it. Anybody else want to say anything? I want to burst my bubble or rain on my parade or...
Oh, no. I like the idea of being optimistic about it. Like I will play this card if I have it, but I'm not going to climb with it.
If this card was a 6 mana 5/5, put a 3/3 or a 4/4 in your hand, teach it one spell, it'd be much more consistent, much better statted, right? But I think it would be more consistent for the stat line, and it would be probably arguably better value. But I think it would have less upside potential because that one Discover to me, but having that second Discover, it feels
it's so good.
That's what saves the card.
That's what I mean.
If you're going to make any argument against it, yeah, you have to have that second Discover.
That's why that second Discover is like what pushes it from. If they only had one Discover, I'd be like, no, it's a meme card or it's something I'll play in like a very specific scenario. But that second Discover to me makes it so good. So I'm really excited about its potential.
Whether it's good or bad, it's still going to be a meme card.
Oh,
Even if it's a really
absolutely.
Good meme, it's going to be a meme.
Yeah.
We'll find out if Exiles plays it in their first week to see how well it does.
Right.
Probably not going to happen. Look for Mechathune Hunter, though.
I'll grab the next one because it's boring and we already talked about it. Next, we have the Druid spell, 8 mana, the Forest's Aid. It's an 8 mana rare spell that has the twin spell tag on it. And it says summon 5 2/2 treants. And again, for those of you that aren't familiar because you've been living on a Hearthstone rock, twin spell means once you cast it, a second copy without the twin spell tag on it is added to your hand. That's otherwise identical. I'm glad that Druid is getting bleh cards. This is basically them pushing the treant archetype that we saw before. They're pushing it again. They're trying to give a nudge towards token Druid. I'm sure they're going to add more cards, like 2 or 3 more cards to make Druid just be annoying with the treants. But I think this card is incredibly expensive, and without a way to cheat it out, I don't know how playing 5 2/2s on turn 8 is ever going to be something you want to do, unless they're going to give us something that combos with it. Like their scheme is going to be, turn your 2/2s into 15/15s with charge or something, but
still not good enough.
Yeah. Right now, I just like this card. Right now is to me unplayable. So that's my spiel.
I feel like there doesn't really need to be much else said, but
pack filler card is bad. I mean,
but guys, it's got Twin Spell on it, so we should all be excited.
It's exciting.
Pack filler,
yeah. There's not much to say about it. People will be playing Treant Druid. It'll be maybe. I don't even know if I'd argue this would make it slightly stronger, considering you're taking 2 cards out of your list to put this in.
It makes it worse.
Honestly. Yeah, I think that makes it worse. I think honestly, run like Bark or something, and you'll be better off. Get that armor.
Pounce.
Yeah, Pounce. It doesn't matter. Throw a Gonkin with no synergy.
Guys,
there you go.
It's a buff to Ramp Druid. Clearly, you ramp up to 8, and then you coin out 5 2/2s.
Yeah, against your person who coins out Calicos.
Right.
Who then plays Hellfire.
Yeah, who then plays Hellfire. It's beautiful. Dual standard classes is happening.
Didn't I tell you I was going to be the hunter lock?
Yeah.
Anything else to say about this card, or are we moving on?
No, I think that's... We're not even give it the attention of even like making jokes about it, That's how you know it's bad.
X, one's for you.
Yeah.
Pogwaggle's Scheme. It's 1 mana rare card that you choose a minion, shuffle 1 copy of it into your deck and turn. This could also... Oh, it's a rogue card. It's a rogue card. It's a rogue card. Let me... It was aptly named, right? So Pogwaggle's Scheme goes perfectly in Pog-O Rogue, right? And they even made the video with the pogos. The bunny hoppers.
They did.
So basically, that's how that's how everyone imagines it's going to be used. But in my idea of control rogue, it's not going to be the pogos that go in, because in a pogo deck you're going to need a way to cheat that out and just start generating the value much quicker than in a fatigue rogue, which is where I think this fits. That's and fatigue rogues is going to want to take the Zilly jerk holes, the Zilli. We'll go with Zilli here.
The
Zilli. Yes. And put them into the deck, or something to that effect. I think that this card has a lot of potential, and I think that we're going to find ways to meme with it. But I think overall, if you're going to want to play a deck, you're going to want to play a deck play a deck to win. You're going to want to play a deck that doesn't have Pogwaggle Scheme in it.
Eric,
I don't know. I've used this back and forth, and I'm curiously optimistic about it, honestly. We've already seen Rogue start to take a direction where they want Rogue to last longer in game, which as Exiles mentioned, like Fatigue Rogue, but like it being a concept. But we've seen it very much with what is it? The Death Rattle Rogue that has like what's the 8/8s that heal you for 8 or whatever for 8 mana.
Yeah, the Deranged Doctor.
Yeah, Deranged Doctor and yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the dragons, the whelps. I'm doing a terrible job because I don't play the deck.
Mechanical Whelplings.
Yeah, exactly. More is that it actually?
The 7/7s.
Is it? Okay, yeah. Why did I think that was the thing that summons as a 2/1 off your whatever? Anyways, it's not important.
That's Mechanical Dragonling.
It all comes back around. But they've slowly been introducing more and more cards that makes Rogue, become a late mid game deck. And like I don't know, I could see a situation where normally at Myra, like Myra's just gonna keep getting run. But like I don't know, you're shuffling in 10 copies of your most powerful card you can think of in the situation that you're in. Like I don't know. I'm super curious about it. I think there's synergies that like I'm not smart enough to be aware of right now, but I think there's synergies to make that work in a way that's pretty gross with Rogue and allows you to have Rogue right now does not have, which is going into the later game and keeping up consistent pressure. So I'm looking forward to this. Like, don't run this with the Chef Nomi, but run this with something else, and maybe there's a world out there where we get a little surprised. So I'm like, again, I'm cautiously optimistic about it, and also like not happy about it because if Pogo Rogue really does take off, then like, It's Jade Druid all over again. Jade Shaman if you were fun.
Yeah, I see this card having all kinds of, I mean, just generic meme potential for funsies because, like I said earlier in the show, I've been playing some test Rogue and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So Rogue is definitely a fun class that you can have, like, you can get creative with, but I actually see this card having some legitimacy in it. Like, okay, so you get one of these in your deck or two of these in your hand, whatever. You Myris, and you're playing like Tempo Rogue. You Myris, empty your hand out, and then Togwaggle your Leroy Jenkins in, and you just smashing him in the face turn after turn for 6 damage. And then you play something like one of your draw mechanics to just every turn you get 6 damage to face, 6 damage to face, and you can do that with any number of cards. Like Pogo if you want, or whatever, any value generating cards. Tempo Rogue, with your throwing spiders in your deck. There's all kinds of things that you can do with this card. It opens up
Tusk.
Exactly. It opens up all kinds of potential for meme decks, hyper aggro, ridiculous charge decks, Pogo decks, legitimate tempo decks. Even just running this as a one of for, like X mentioned, just a little healing. Put it on your Zilliax, get 10 Zilliaxes when you go into late game, and just you're getting healing after healing after healing after healing. This is a card that has potential, and it's choose a minion. You could steal their minion. Say there's some bonkers minion that they play and you just get a bunch of copies of it. This card has a lot of potential, and I love it for its flexibility. It's a card that can see play in any deck that I can conceive of, just because of how Rogue works. You can almost find a way to make it work in almost any deck, in my mind. So I'm pretty excited about it, but I think it's going to take some finagling to get it to work.
Togwaggle scheme, enemy collect close, draw collect close, play collect ghosts, discover vanish, play vanish, infinite collect ghosts.
It's beautiful.
And X already solved the equation.
Yeah,
that's all I was thinking when you kept talking about the meme potential. I was like, oh, let's put this on collect ghosts and somehow make this work.
Yeah. Anything else, or we want to move on?
Yeah, I'm good.
I think we're good. Again, for anyone who's just joining, we're going to have a stream on Thursday, April 5th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern.
His mic broke up a little bit. Want to say that one more time there?
Oh.
Yeah.
Mike, how could you? April 4th at 6 p.m., which is a Thursday, we're going to be doing our stream. So if you want to hear our actual well-informed thoughts at that point, considering we have more cards to base it off of, make sure you stop by.
Yep. So we got just five more cards to reveal, half cards. They're the lackeys. We're into the lackeys now, the last 5 quote-unquote cards that we have to review. So I think we can just kind of do you want to talk about them individually, or do you just want to kind of thumb through them and just talk about them as a group?
Let's throw all 5 up.
Yeah.
All right. So we have they're all neutrals. You have the Ethereal Lackey. They're all neutrals. They're all 1/1s. You have the Ethereal Lackey, which battle cry, discover a spell. You have the Faceless Lackey, which is battlecry, summon a random 2-cost minion. We have the Kobold Lackey, which is battlecry, deal 2 damage. And we have the Goblin Lackey, which is battlecry, give a friendly minion +1 attack and rush. And finally, we have the Witchy Lackey, which I think is a stupid name, which is battlecry, transform a friendly minion into one that costs 1 more.
No.
X, you want to start us off with your general thoughts of these 5 cards?
Yeah, aside from the fact that they just gave up naming them when they got to Agathis, I thought they were pretty good.
They're like, we need these cards out by 5 p.m.
I can't think it's better than Witchy. What kind of lackey is it? No. Obviously, they're very strong. I alluded to their strength earlier when I was saying... I alluded to their strength earlier when I even hinted at the fact that a 5-mana or a 3-mana 1/5 could potentially be playable because of how powerful they are. They're 1-mana cards that are worth 3 mana. Like, it's a value card. It goes into your Fatigue Rogue. You can Togwaggle scheme, the one that says discover a spell and love your life. But I don't know. I just think it's bad. Like, I think they're good cards, but it's bad with Evil Miscreant is what I mean to say. Like, give me more ways to find lackeys. That's all I want. More ways to find lackeys.
I think they hinted that they were going to do that, right? They're not just going to be off that one. If they put that much effort into one rogue card that is kind of like meh, I'm going to be very upset that the best they could do for that's a discussion for another day. But Eric, what are your thoughts?
Indeed.
No, I'm right there with you. I really like Goblin Lackey. I think is gross. Give a friendly minion +1 attack and rush. I mean, let's just say it's a rogue only card. Like, just think of the possibilities out there, you know. Then you've got like Faceless Lackey, which is the summon a random 2-cost minion. That's like, I don't know. We're just all aware of the 2-cost potentials out there at this point, and I feel like they've been diluting that pool more and more, considering they want to give cards more upswing with their text rather than the actual body. That's why we get excited about a 3/4, because hey, 3-drops aren't always 3. So that one seems okay. Witchy Lackey can be really nice if, hey, you've got a really damaged strong minion and you say, hey, you know what, I want to give this more than the 1 health it's at. Discover spell, Tim alluded, discovering's gross. Discovering's just so gross, and doing that for 1 mana, getting a body on the board, you're never going to be like upset about that. People play Blink Fox for the random spell that you can get as a 3/3 body. 1/1 body, discover spell is good, and then deal 2 damage is just another strong for a 1-cost minion. So they're all good. I think that there definitely needs to be better ways to get them, but like, it's promising to see that these exist and should hopefully pop up in other ways.
I agree. As long as they're not constantly coming on understated or practically unplayable cards, or cards that you have to pay a really huge price to get, because otherwise, I get there's, yes, you have to have balance considerations, but making cool cards that are so punishing to get, it doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel like, rewarding for playing them, because you're like, I worked really hard and paid a price to get this card, and if every card like that is like, I get it in like Rogue because they have so many ways to cheat it out, right? But in other classes where they don't have that, they can only play a card once because they don't have 18 different ways to play it again. I hope they're not this oppressively priced. That said, I agree in general with everything that you guys said. Real quick, why don't we each name off our favorite and least favorite Lackey? Eric?
Favorite Lackey, Goblin Lackey, the +1 attack and rush. Least favorite, I know. Yeah, exactly, right? I'm excited about that. Least favorite, Faceless Lackey, the summon a 2-cost minion.
Okay.
My favorite Lackey easily is Witchy Lackey, because I love mechanics. So let's go. I'm going to rename it to, I don't know, we'll figure out. It's going to be organic when I rename it, but Witchy Lackey easily the favorite. And the least favorite one, that's kind of tough, honestly. They're also good. Probably the Kobold Lackey. It's just so lacking of flavor. Everything else has been so delicious. This is like pop chips.
Ooh, I love pop chips. Those are delicious.
I'm sorry for the loss of your taste buds.
Come by for the cape match after the
jeez. He's got roasted. You guys can probably guess my favorite Lackey.
Ethereal.
I was gonna say Ethereal too. Discover Spell.
100%. Yep. My least favorite is also the Faceless Lackey. Summon a random 2-cost minion is, by the time you're gonna play this, it's blah. Like, this is the one that they put in there to balance out the Lackeys, in my opinion. Like, it's just not impactful enough. Like, every one of these, if you played them on a later turn, you can make an argument for them being impactful, right? Like, giving a minion +1 attack and rush can often help you value trade, or save another minion by sacrificing more effectively another minion. Dealing 2 damage is kind of the same thing. Transforming a minion is like healing a minion. Yeah, sometimes you're gonna get screwed over, but a lot of times you're just gonna get a full health better minion. And then of course Discover Spell discovers just the best mechanic in the game. So yeah, that's my take on it. And that's it. That's it for the cards, guys. We got through all of the cards. And we're only like 45 minutes over as long as we wanted the show to be. So, are there any anything else we want to say before we move on to the Twitter poll discussion?
I think we did a good job. Yeah, we got more in depth than I think any of us expected on these. So I think we covered some real ground, and like I mentioned, April 4th, informed opinions, fully informed.
4.
They promised me I could talk as long as I want on the
It's
gonna be bring your sleeping bag.
Stream.
When electronics launch.
Yeah, we'll be handing out coffee, free Starbucks, free Starbucks if you come to the studio.
Truth.
The idea of us having a studio. Yeah. Let's jump into the Twitter poll because I will go into a rant about the studio.
Right.
Okay. So everyone here who is not following our Twitter, which I highly recommend, look at Matt Sucks on point with it as well. We made a post today. It's going to be a weekly thing that we're doing where we get community feedback on a certain subject, and then we create a poll for it, so we see what people are thinking about it, and then we discuss it on stream. And so this was the inaugural one, and it's something that came up because it's actually, I had mentioned this before in one of our just private calls, but the idea of being able to ban one class that you can go against in Hearthstone when you're trying to climb is something that I had thought about a long time ago. I got roasted for, and then Kibler was streaming, and they picked a priest deck, I forgot what. I think they just let it autofill, and they hit enter. And then for a second, all three of the priest decks that were on their collection page showed banned in like red letters, or like ban or something like that. And it was just a weird bug. And who knows? Maybe it could be because they're testing a tournament mode or something. And this was something that leaked out of that. But what I like to think of is the fact that maybe someone from Blizzard was listening the one time I said it and said, "Hey, you know what? 2 years from now, let's implement this." So the idea is, do you think that Blizzard should implement, or at least consider the idea of implementing banning in Hearthstone? And you can play a ranked game. When you queue up, you're allowed to say, you know what, I don't want to go against Warrior. You just don't queue up against Warriors. And so the first thing we wanted to do was go over the polling results as they stand. This is actually an active poll. So if I'm about to read these to you and you feel like it's ridiculous one way or the other, if you think one has too many votes or not enough votes, you can still vote in this. Right now, people saying that yes, you should be able to ban one class when you're playing ranked is at 42% out of 31 votes. So that's approximately 13 people out of 31. And the people saying no are at 58%. So that would add up to about maybe 18 people. And that's kind of what we expected. Azrael had mentioned that he figured it'd be a little surprising, and I think we all like look at the caps in chat right now. It draws strong emotions because it's such a powerful and impactful thing to happen. And yet, I was
he's so excited. Look at him.
I know.
He's so excited.
I'm setting this up because I'm ready. This is like, you know how you've got the dogs who are like doing the running training or whatever, and like they're holding back, and you have to hold until you're like go, and then they jump or whatever. This is that, and this is me whining. Last thing, I think this just goes to, you know, actually no, we can get right into it because there's plenty to talk about. There's a lot of strong emotions this elicits, so I'm curious to see what our team thinks, and then as we follow up afterwards, what people think in general.
Absolutely. X, I'm not gonna step on your toes. Have at it, because I'm gonna get out of the way. I don't want to get hurt.
I promise. I did not mean it. It's just such an exciting topic that you brought up, and here's why. No priest. That's all I had.
And a dab.
No. But seriously. People play priest and odd warrior because they literally. I've seen it happen on streams. I've done it on my own stream. They play because they're like, literally, frick this game. I hate everything that's going on. If you look at the best warrior players in the world, like some of the best warrior streamers, they name their odd warrior deck ZZZ warrior, or one person least favorite warrior. But they play it when they get frustrated at everyone else. So if you're just a nice, happy person and you don't want to subject yourself to ever playing warrior, you also never have to subject yourself to playing against it. That feels really good. However, it would be the death of everything that's not mid-range hunter, because mid-range hunter has about one or two bad matchups, and if you can take one of those bad matchups out of the equation forever, even if it means I never have to play against priest again, I don't think it's worth it to see how good aggro would get doing this. Sad face. Azrael. No priest.
Is it going to be cheating? Because in the show notes I put in a similar concept. Am I going to be cheating if I bring that up for kind of comparison?
Anything goes. Wild West over here.
First of all, to address the poll directly, I figured it was going to be kind of polarizing. It's not only like almost a coin flip, but the opinions are really strong. People are. I mean, I'm looking at chat, and people are like, "Yes, F priest," or "No, that's stupid. Why would you do that? It destroys Hearthstone." So yeah, I think we all were kind of like it was going to be pretty much like this because people are very, very passionate about this subject, which is cool to see because it's nice to have validation. As much as I like the idea in concept of being able to kind of have a little bit of control, because you guys, anybody that knows me, has been to my channel at least, knows that I'm a proponent of the hashtag algorithm conspiracy with the matchmaker system. And I hate the matchmaker system because it always feels like it's always trying to cue you into matchups that are going to drive you to 50%. So if there's one matchup that you just absolutely hate, like, and I don't even hate playing Odd Warrior, especially when I play a lot of Hunter, because Rexar exists and Rexar just helps you win against Warrior, right? But it just takes so long. I don't want to spend 45 minutes to get one win, right? So that said, I'm a big proponent of anything that can kind of make just the play experience and the queuing up experience feel less punishing, right? Because that's really what it is. Like, nobody hates necessarily queuing into a bad matchup. What we hate is that punishing feeling of feeling like we don't have a chance. And this, or against Odd Warrior, even when I feel like I feel favored playing a lot of Hunter against Odd Warrior, I feel like I'm going to have to spend so much time doing it that it just doesn't feel rewarding when I finally get it, when I could have played 6 other games in that time. So it helps you avoid that feeling. I don't think Blizzard will ever do it, because what they'll end up seeing is that the stats will tell them that people just hate certain things about their game, and then they'll try to respond by nerfing those things, or I don't think they'll ever realistically do it. I did mention in the deck notes, and I think we talked about this one of the last episodes in the show notes. I think we did mention this in one of the previous episodes. The idea of like deck mulliganing, like Specialist lends itself to the idea of deck mulliganing, where you queue up against a deck, queue up against a class, not knowing which archetype they are, but you queue up against a class, and can then pick deck A, deck B, deck C versus that class. So well, yeah, they're a priest. I don't know what kind of priest they are, but this is the one I teched specifically to beat priest. And at least it feels like it gives you a chance and some control, that even if you still lose, you're like, well, I gave myself the best chance and they just outplayed me, or it didn't work out, or whatever. That feels better. I think that would be easier to implement by comparison, and I think it would be more realistic because Specialist lends itself to that setup. But they'll never do that one either, because I'm sure the mechanics behind making that work are very, very difficult. But in general, I'm a fan of anything that makes me as a player feel like I have more control over the matchups and the game as a whole. So so I'm a vote yes on this, just because of that alone, even if I don't necessarily like this particular implementation versus the one I just gave you as comparison, but I'm a yes for that reason.
Yeah. And I think, just to round it out, honestly, like, this is more so a conversation that is only springing as a symptom of a larger problem. The reason that people would even show so much passion towards the idea of banning one single deck and instantly an answer coming to mind is symptomatic of a bigger problem, which is some game designs just aren't fun to go against. And that's card games. A lot of times you can, no matter what, like, people will say, I'm aggro, I hate going against control because it naturally counters me. That's one layer to it. But a bigger layer is when you start to introduce things that are things like Odd Warrior, that can just wait. We just call them solitaire decks, essentially. They're decks that don't have to interact with you. All they have to do is keep doing things on their end, and they never have to do anything until it's either time for you to concede or it's time for them to do everything in one turn to you. And that's not what's fun to go against. So more so, the idea is hopefully that they keep going towards a pace of, hey, we're going to stop having such swingy one-turn kill cards or Odd Warrior / Dead Man's Hand situations, what have you. And again, I agree with everyone. I don't think they're going to implement this ever. Not only from like a perspective of like, hey, Blizzard's going to become aware of like what, of all negative sides, but from a game design position too. I don't know. There's so many headaches that happen once you start to introduce a mechanic like banning a whole class from ladder. And as much as it would probably implement more flexibility in people's decks, because all of a sudden you're saying, hey, look, don't have to go against priests, so I'm going to run this, or I don't have to go against whatever. I can run this. You may end up seeing a semi more diverse meta. I think when you limit options in a game, you're going away from the way it should be being played. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I voted yes on this because it's hilarious and I would love to do it, but I think the right decision is not to do it.
Right.
So yeah, again, kind of a dumb fake out, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day. Oh, go ahead, X.
I would say I also voted yes, but I clearly took the no position because I saw the poll, and as soon as I saw the tweet, I was like, "Hell yeah, frick priest," and then I was like, "Oh wait, no, we can't do that."
Yeah, I feel like if anyone's like a top 200 player, they instantly did the "Are you kidding?" No way.
Right. Yeah, and resident top 200 player is
all of us. Yeah.
You're gonna be right behind him. You got like half a month to catch up. So,
oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and I think you outlined it very, very articulately, and I just want to reiterate it for emphasis. At the end of the day, it is the fact that we even have conversations like this, or I talk about the hashtag algorithm conspiracy, is because there are mechanics in the game that just feel bad. So. Address the mechanic issues, and then people won't have these kind of conversations, because people didn't have this conversation 2-3 years ago, right? They had this kind of conversation when they started introducing ridiculous, polarizing things into the game. So,
are you sure they didn't talk about it when Justicar Trueheart made it into Warrior?
Oh man.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, but generally speaking,
there seems to be a common thread.
Yeah. When Warrior gains 1 billion armor, nobody wants to play Hearthstone.
Interesting.
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to say in this? I would like if we can also readdress this a little bit in the Q&A section at the end as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's about time to move on to the Q&A section. So guys, while if you have any questions about anything we talked about, any comments, questions for if you want to tag somebody in particular, just go ahead and tag us. Otherwise, if you want it for anybody, you can tag all three of us, or just write it to the orbit in all caps, and one of us will grab it. We'll answer questions for 5 or 10 minutes. And while you guys are putting those questions out there, let's just go over a couple of our community. We like to do community shout outs and during the show. So while you guys are writing that out, we just want to talk about a few things a few events that are going on in the community right now. Two things really. X, do you want to, Eric, do you want to handle the first one of these, and then I'll handle the other one because it's mine?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go and exactly. I think the order that these things should happen.
Yeah.
So anyone who's familiar with your community at large that we kind of all represent and take part in. Dragon Rider DK is another member of that same sort of community, and they're actually actively. They have an actively open tournament that they're doing right now. It's called the Dragon Cup. They got it because they hit their sub goal, and it's the first tournament they've ever done. So we want to give a quick shout out to that. I think we can do a little. I can line something up. So if anyone is interested, you have the option to potentially join if you'd like. Good person. Please go support them one way or another. And then, in even more personal terms, I think Asriel's got something to shout out.
Yeah, I too am putting on my own tournament for finally hitting one of my goals, which was 500 followers, and I'm having a tournament as well. And if you !tournament in the chat, or !tourney in the chat, you can have the information on that for mine. And then it is a specialist format tournament. It'll be starting on Monday, March 25th. And I'm hosting it I actually changed where I'm hosting it. I originally was doing Battlefy, but I'm doing it on Spash.gg because they accommodate the specialist format better, or it's they actually accommodate the specialist format where Battlefy doesn't yet. So it'll be over there. If you head to my Discord, you can get all the details, or I also linked it on my Twitter, Azrael, AIG, the letter A, the letter I, the letter G. Check that out for more information. I'm giving away $100 in cards and card packs. So, join. It's free. All you gotta be is a follower. So thanks for letting me to put that out there. It's my way of giving back to my community and the EO community at large, which has helped me achieve that goal. And I'm very grateful for that. So,
yeah.
All right.
You're absolutely killing it, as like I'm super excited. Unfortunately, I can't participate in the tournament, but if I was available, I 100% would, and I recommend everybody here to do it because Azrael always puts on a good show, always puts on a good production, as you expect from the man, the myth, the legend himself.
And it's free money.
It's free money.
It's true.
Free money. So enjoy it, guys. I'm really excited for it. Thanks for giving me a minute of your guys' time. I appreciate it. Do we want to grab some of these questions out of chat if anybody threw any in there?
Yeah, absolutely. The first one that I saw was Matt. He asked, would the ban be better if you could ban a card instead of a class? The first response to that actually summed it all up in my mind. So I'm gonna just steal from the audience here. Ban Ziliax, never find game. So like it's still not a viable thing, but it's fun to think about. What if I could ban Mechathune? What if I could ban Wild Growth? What if I could ban Mind Blast? Oh, if I could ban Mind Blast. Let's do this. Let's ban Mind Blast.
Okay, XL's back on the train. We're gonna forget banning a class. Why not just make the class crumble from within and destroy itself?
Well, Mind Blast is going to be Mind Blast is going to go to Wild next rotation anyway, so it's going to happen.
No.
Year of the Aardvark next year. It's going to go to.
It's going to say, you know what? And that's just a tough thing. Like you just think about the game design that banning a card. Oh man, it's so much simpler and so much satisfying to just click on the priest portrait or your portrait, depending on how you're feeling. And if anyone, Blue, if anyone has any questions, just ask them in chat. It is also the GeoGuessr Grand Final, so please stay on once we finish.
Starfox says, as if you want to punch Baku in the nose and never see him again, but don't want to disenchant all of Mammoth, what are some safe disenchants I can do? Are you saying for cards that are rotating out? I'm confused by your question. Because you're gonna get full dust value for getting Baku as is. And all of the other cards that are rotating out, and that's gonna be like $3 or $4 grand worth of dust total.
Well, and yeah, so they're curious, what would be like your highlights as far as cards that you should disenchant once rotation happens because they're,
Man, see, I don't disenchant any cards.
Yeah.
Ever. So
yeah,
I do it on EU though. On EU, I dust everything that isn't standard because that's a free to play account. So if it's not standard, I don't care how much emotional attachment I have to it, with the exception of Dr. Boom and Rag, because those are my bae. But my bays. Anyway, I love those two cards, but everything else gets smoked. And so I can't really. I'm not equipped to answer that question. I would have to ask one of the guys that's more frugal with their collections than I am. I hate to pun on that one, but I can't give you an honest answer because I don't think in those terms. I'm very all in.
I got you here. Don't worry. It's not rotating, but disenchant Hyreek the Bat.
You say that, but watch, they're gonna make Buff Lock a thing.
Well, there's some rumors that someone said they were in a growth designers Hearthstone, and they said that this next rotation would see a buff to Hyreek. So I've literally remembered that since the expansion, and I'm waiting for it to happen, but I don't.
Just despite
also, what Dr. Morgan? Dr. Morgan's not rotating, but get rid of Dr. Morgan.
Yeah, that card's crap. If you all missed Lazul's scheme, reduces attack until your next turn. Knowing that, does that change your mind of the power level of that card when you steal something like Lich King? That was exactly one reason why I'm a big fan of it, Blue. So I mean, I'm in the boat of I like that card a lot. I think it's actually really powerful.
And as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't change my valuation of the card. I still.
Okay.
Like I already knew, like I assumed it was just like the curse of weakness that we already know. Only on one thing, and so bad.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I think the more so the idea is like it's back. So it's not like you're grabbing it and you're saying like, hey, it's essentially so like they just don't have it. It's like they go into their turn, they don't have this thing they're gonna hit you in the face with. Worst case, it comes back to you and you just get to play it for full value. But now you don't have to worry about their board having this one minion. So yeah, I think I think either way, it doesn't affect the way that you card.
Right.
So Sino Santa asked me, if everybody banned a specific card and could only ban one card at a time, would we have a meta where once a scary deck was found using a banned format, they would shift it the next week? That is a whole lot of words for me to respond with one. No.
It would be fun.
It wouldn't rotate, so there wouldn't be that much of a reaction from the community or from Blizzard. They would, like, as much as Blizzard would have the statistics, they wouldn't do anything about it because there would still be deck diversity, even if one monster deck came to be. And if one monster deck did come to be and somebody banned a card from it, it is what it is. Imagine if back in Druid days, like in the Druid meta, everyone banned Naturalized, right? Well, you wouldn't be playing against any of, or banned Wild Growth. Nobody's playing against Druids now except for other Druids. And that would not change. If the OTK meta pops back up, which, please God, no, pop back up in this thing, you would just ban what? You would just ban Malagos, or you just ban Mecha'thun. So it's not going to shift from week to week like you're saying. Are there going to be those are there's still going to be those scary decks like you're talking about? Absolutely. But this is not a way that's going to solve it. It's just going to make those decks scarier because it's going to remove their bad matchups. So
yeah, I agree.
Man. Well, good work, fellas.
Yeah, I think we hit them all. Guys. Thanks for sticking around. This was a little bit of a long one. We got excited about doing a mini card review, and we went a little longer. We probably should have. The next one until what day was that again, guys?
April 4th.
Oh, right.
Was it on the 4th?
Yeah, the 4th, yeah. Okay. So on the 4th of April, we'll go into more detail. The next episode, or the episodes between now and then, we'll try to keep it, closer to the hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes we try to shoot for. But we got a little excited because it's our first time seeing new cards in like 4 months. So forgive us. We're sorry. We're tired too, guys. So I think it's about time to wrap things up. But I think we covered a lot of ground in a lot of detail. So we just want to touch base with a few things that we went over today, and then we'll cut it out of here. We got this Saturday, 2/23, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're having another EO full team event on Risa, aka Striving Lights channel. We're going to be doing team rap battles from Jackbox Party 5. We're all going to be on there having a rap battle competition. If anybody's ever seen one of those before, they know how much fun it is. So we're super excited about that one. So please pop over on Saturday, say hi, have some laughs. It's going to be a good time. What else do we got going on, guys?
So I'm actually currently working on something. Related to deck building that might go on the Eternal Orbit website. Mm-hmm. So you guys should stay tuned for that. I'm going to drop a hot little tease there, which leads us to the website. Eric, you've been crushing the website. We made a lot of really cool, like behind the scenes optimizations lately. And I'm really excited for it. How do you like how it's coming along?
Oh, no, I feel great about it. Anyone who doesn't know, the website a bit, and like there's always work to be done, but like at the same time it's been a lot of fun, and it's been exciting to have people hop in and say that they want to start working on their art and collaborating and all that. I don't know, it's a lot of fun, and it tickles the right side of my brain. But yeah, I don't know, I had a whole thing and then I said that sentence, so I don't know what else I'm supposed to say.
Very soon we're going to be having an Orbit section where all of the VODcasts and podcasts, we're going to have both on there. So if you want to listen while you're driving, because you shouldn't watch while you're driving, because data, that's more important than the other thing I'm going to say, which is B, it's dangerous. So we're going to have both the podcast and the podcast available on there in the very near future. We're almost ready to get that going here. So that's going to be coming to the website in addition to articles and other content. Go ahead, Eric.
And so last thing, this is what I actually meant to talk about. We talked about, hey, if like you could ban, like, do you think Hearthstone should implement a banning feature where you can ban one class from ranked that you go against? That poll is still live. It's going to be live until maybe 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow, I believe. So you're more than welcome to vote in it. And then we're going to very quickly tomorrow next week, before we go into our new poll that will be going up on Wednesday, we'll just recap the results really quickly and see what I thought. So yeah, thank you all so much for the turnout. We had, having over 30 people comment on this when it's only like 10 hours old is absolutely the coolest thing. So
yeah, feels pretty good.
We
guys.
appreciate all the support and the involvement and engagement. It's all super.
Okay. Well, guys, I'm guessing we're going to have a lot more cards to talk about this time next week. We'll try to be more concise and save it for the big stream, the big card review stream on 4/4. But we're going to have a lot to talk about next week. I'm super excited for it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. To the audience, thank you so much for sticking out with us like troopers for an extended edition of the episode. And we will see you next Wednesday back here at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific for the next episode of The Orbit. And with that, I'm Azrael As It Gets signing off, joined as always by my co-hosts, Mr. Exiles Rhythm and Mr. Rude Clouds. Guys, have a great night.
Bye the March.